Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zoe's Treasures. Good morning. Hello, the Polish Picker Brandy. Good morning. Let me get my chat a little bit bigger here so I can actually read it. Oh, well, hey, wait a minute. That's not working very good. Let me, I am on my computer. We are still in Dallas, trying to make my screen bigger because I'm old and I can't see the writing. Hello, everybody. Thank you for sharing the show. Good morning, Crafting with Chris, PBJ, Southern Charm. How is everybody today? Happy Friday. I am so glad it's Friday. I am going home today. Let's just fingers crossed that there are no flight issues. I get home because tomorrow morning we have our Glowy Glass show and I don't want to do it remote. I want to be there and do it in person. So if you like Glowy Glass, do not miss tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. It's going to be all random, but I guarantee you we got some really, really cool glass. Every single piece of glass that we sell will be have a glow to it. So it is a fun show. Are you doing great? That is awesome. Hello, Lolly. Mary, good morning. So today I've got a couple quick announcements. One, there was a new IRS announcement, which I know you guys are all like, oh, IRS, I can't wait to hear. I know you're really not, but I'm going to tell you anyways. Before we get to that, you guys, PA Meetup. If you're interested in going to the PA Meetup, please, 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 please do so. I am going to, let me just pin my back call really quick for people who are possibly waiting on that. Tickets are in the bin. We have close to 40 people already purchased tickets. We have about a 65, 70 tickets left, and they're first come, first serve. We'll be selling them either till they sell out or the middle of September, and then that'll be it. So hello, Josie. Good morning, previously mentioned. So if you guys are interested anywhere near the Pennsylvania area, and then the other thing, say Baloo, the other thing I ask for you guys to do is to, if you are going, or if you're just like, hey, I want to be supportive, spread the word on the PA Meetup. I would love to just get the word out to as many people as possible. So just, that's it. There it is right there. He's pulling it up. Now let's talk about the IRS, the big announcement that just came out from the IRS. Yesterday, they announced that they have increased the mileage rate for 2026. So, you know, I'm always pushing you guys. I'm always saying, keep track your mileage, make sure you're writing it down or using an app, and that you need to do it. I never can say this word, contemporaneously. You need to do it when it's happening, right? Mileage isn't a thing that you wait until January and then like you go back and recreate it for the year. You're supposed to be doing it as it happens. And right now is a really good example of why. As of July 1st, the IRS has increased the mileage rate by 3 cents. So it's gone up from, or 3.5 cents, excuse me. It's gone up from 72.5 cents that it was so far. Now it's 76 cents a mile. Y'all, that's almost $1 a mile that is tax deductible for you for all your business driving. So 76 cents a mile. But here, yeah, isn't that cool, Southern Charm? Here's the kicker though. It switched as of July 1st. So January 1st to the end of June is still the 72.5. July 1st to the end of December is 76 cents. So we have two different rates that you're going to have to take into consideration this year. This is why doing your mileage when you're supposed to, good excuse, absolutely good excuse to go on a trip. But this is why keeping that log is so important, because you have two different rates that you have to consider. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Amy. Good morning, Tober. So that was the big news. Does mileage only apply to personal vehicles? So yeah, it would be your personal vehicle. If your vehicle is owned in a business name, you can still, the mileage still applies totally. There are special rules though, that when you consider getting a fleet of vehicles, and I think it's either 6 or 7, I have to go look that up. But if your business owns more than 6 or 7 vehicles, that becomes a fleet, and then the rules change. Most of that doesn't apply to us, so I usually never talk about that aspect. But if you have a vehicle that's titled in your business name, all the rules still apply. Everything is still the same. Any recommendations for a mileage app? Nope. Anything that works for you. Pencil and paper. There's a million different apps that you can put on your phone. Whatever works for you. Some of them are free. Some you got to pay for. As long as they're tracking mileage, it's really because they're not really doing a whole lot besides keeping a log for you. I have zero recommendations, whatever you find that works. I use an Excel sheet. I'm old school. I do it once a week. I sit down when I do my bookkeeping once a week and I fill out my mileage log for that week, the same time I do my bookkeeping. That's how I do it. Is there is there a cap? You couldn't actually say you were going 2 states away to start. Well, Mama, I mean, if you actually went 2 states away, as long as you're honest, then that's fine. There is no cap in miles. So as many miles as you drive legitimately for business purposes, you're allowed to claim. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say that if it was like incredibly high. Let's just say if the IRS, put it like this, all of our tax returns go through computers. We know what we can do with AI. Think about what companies, how they're harnessing the power of AI and, just computers in general and the speed at which computers can process things. The IRS is no different. There are averages. The IRS is going to be like, well, most businesses that make around this amount of money drive X number of miles. Now, if yours is 50, times higher than that, could it make them look at it? Yeah, it can make them look at it. But you have nothing to worry about as long as you're being honest. If it's super, super, super high, maybe you get a letter? There's a possibility you might get a letter and the IRS might say, hey, can you just show me your documentation? You send them a copy. They say, thank you very much. End of story. So long as you're being truthful, there's no cap and you don't have anything to worry about. My insurance company has a sneaky app on my phone that shows there you go. Mary, that is awesome. Y'all, that is a really good tip to check your insurance company. I didn't even think about that. And maybe there's something on there that's already doing this and you weren't even aware. So this is a huge deduction. I want you guys to think about this. 76 cents a mile, for me, just to go to the post office is like, I don't know, 8 to 10 mile round trip just to go to the post office. And how many times a week do you do that, right? My glass granny, good morning. Yeah, good, Mama. Well, now's your time to go to one of the big flea markets. It's only going up from here. The IRS usually every January, they index it, they increase it for inflation. But this year they decided because of the fluctuating gas prices, and we just had gas prices go up again, that they're trying to respond to those business needs. Good morning, Swamp Chick Boutique. So that's the big IRS news. I know it's not something super exciting, like we're all getting extra refunds or anything like that, but it is good news for us as a business. So yeah, post office sourcing, all that stuff. Going to buy ink. I mean, anything you do, anything that has a business purpose, that is not your normal commute is deductible. So track it. It's worth it. Okay. Today we are going to talk. Good morning, Kate. We are going to talk about increasing your profit without adding hours. Like, I wish this was a whole secret formula. I'm just going to give you some common sense stuff here, but how awesome would it be? How many of us would be like, yeah, I'll take an extra $5,000 a month. Nobody's going to argue with that, right? So how can we increase the money that's coming in without killing ourselves, without that burnout again? You're going on a trip in September by Amtrak to meet a friend for sourcing. I will be mailing my items back. So how can I do that? Okay. So, mamas, that is on the surface sounds like a trip that would be tax deductible if you are going for the sole purpose of sourcing, but you said you're meeting a friend. So let's look at this realistically. And again, keep in mind that I am very, very conservative. I am going to go to the strictest, follow the rules that I possibly can. If you go there, let's say you're going to go for 4 days. 2 of those days are legit spent sourcing. The sole purpose of those 2 days is to go and buy stuff for your business. But then the second 2 days is more hanging out, having fun, doing friend time, right? I would still consider the Amtrak tax deductible, your train ticket, but then just those 2 days, like the meals for the 2 days that you're really sourcing would be your deductible part. And then of course, if you have to mail anything back, that is fully deductible because those are the items that you're going to end up selling. Yeah, you don't look good. I know. I don't like orange either. I'm always going to give anything I say on the IRS. I'm going to kind of, here's the regulation and here's how I interpret it. This is one thing that everybody needs to keep in mind. The IRS, they have rules, but there a lot of gray area on how those rules are interpreted. And some CPAs are going to be super, super flexible and they're going to push the boundaries and push the limits. And others like me are going to be very like strict. It's not that one's right or one's wrong. It's just the interpretation of those rules. So that I just stay to the very far side. It's just not something I like to push boundaries on. I'll speed a little bit and push boundaries there. I'm not going to push it with the IRS. So good morning, Erin. Hello. So let's talk about increasing your profit without adding hours. I have a question for you. So first off, if you wanted to make an extra $1,000 this month, what is your first instant thought to do that? What's your go-to? What's your first, like, okay, I need an extra 1,000 this month. When you're looking at your business, what would be your solution to that immediately? Better items, more shows, extra shows, sell more, do more shows, more shows.
Good morning, Miss Kelly.
So none of those are bad ideas, but almost all of them except better items include more labor. They're all more time that you have to spend, more labor. And this is what I want to think differently about, because that is instinctively, I can put it on a different platform maybe. That's instinctively what we go to is, okay, if I work harder, if I do more, if I just put, just a bit more, another show, instead of 100 things, I'm going to sell 200 things. Will that get you more money? Yeah, probably will get you more money. It is a solution, but is there a solution that doesn't involve you doing more? Our time is precious and we only have so much of it. Are you going to love? Okay, good. I'm glad you're going to love this topic. I want to talk about what kind of ideas can we come up with? What ways can we improve what we're already doing and maximize the time that we already have? Because sometimes just one small change one small change in your show can increase your profit. So it's not always about doing more it's not always about doing more. It's taking your time and having a better and more efficient use of the time that you have. Change items to get higher profit items and there you go. Love that idea. Sometimes it's about the items. Sometimes it's about, instead of adding another show, maybe I'm going to do higher quality items and less of them and go for a scarcity factor. Sometimes that scarcity, the specialness of that show with a little bit higher quality items can, say if you had 50 high quality items and you made a big deal about this show, that show could do far better than 100 mid-range items, right? So sometimes it's looking at the rarity. Yeah, it's looking at if I'm going to spend an hour doing a show, let's do it in the best way possible. Good morning, CG. How are you? So when we're going through this, I see you want to talk there, my love.
I just found it funny, and I wanted to say, good morning, Opa.
Opa, what's this about? I missed this. Okay. Populate your bin and let it work for you when you're not doing a show. So Old River Trading, that could be a solution. I want to think though, that is not Lysandra. Lysandra is old. It's the wedding one. That's okay. My husband's like, Old River Trading's Lysandra. I'm like, no, that's not Lysandra. I don't think that's a bad idea, populating your bin and let those items sell. What I think I want to keep in mind is you have to photograph those items and you have to list those items. So if you took the time of photographing and listing, could that not equal a show? Like, are we really saving time? And I'm not against the idea. What I want to do is push all of you just a little bit to think a little bit, like get outside the box. What else could we do? Sometimes it's about changing a system we have, changing the way we're doing things could increase that. So that brings me to efficiency beats effort. So that's kind of the core of what we're talking about. So being busy all the time is not the same as being profitable by any means. You can spend hours sourcing, listing, photographing, cleaning stuff. And just because you're busy, and in our minds, we think busy means we're making money. We're working hard. We're doing our jobs. We're, doing stuff for the business. That doesn't always mean dollars in our pockets. You could do all the sourcing, the listing, and all of this stuff, and someone can still work half the amount of time and make more money than you. What are they doing that we're not? What's that secret that they know and for some reason we're not catching on to? Do you think actually putting on a show helps the entertainment? 100%. 100%. I would say put on a show every day over putting items in your bin. I'm not against putting items in your bin, but if you had the choice, if it was like, okay, I've got 50 items, I can put 50 in my bin or I can do a show, I would say do a show every single day would be my choice on that. Yeah, busy work doesn't make you poor. It doesn't make you rich. It makes you poor. 100%. Well, I don't know if it makes you poor, but it definitely doesn't make you rich just being busy for sure. Look at that. Mary says, efficient with time. Thanks to Noel's auction tag script yesterday, I worked faster and kept more in my room and had 25. There you go. And I did not decide on this topic to plug my husband's labeling thing, but that is part of it. Think about all these little things that you could do to improve your efficiency. If you're not stopping, if you're doing random poll or anything, random polls or pre-listed, and you're not stopping to write a name out, even 2 or 3 seconds per auction could add up, particularly if you're in the volume game where one of the metrics you're looking at is your how many items you sell per hour. Saving 2 to 3 seconds per item could mean a few more items during the course of that hour. So let me get back to where I was. So what we're talking about is the systems. So more efficiencies could occur from changing things that you're doing in your systems. Let's look at shipping. When you're shipping, is everything within arm's reach? I preach shipping stations constantly. Even if you're in a tiny little apartment, you can take a closet or something and make a shipping station. Take a folding card table and put it in the corner of your room to make a shipping station. Is it going to be pretty? Is it going to be perfect? Maybe not. Is it going to save you time and free you up to do other things that makes you money? Absolutely. So when you're looking at your shipping, is everything right there within arm's reach? Or do you have to walk over here and then walk over here and then do this? So are you being the most efficient in your shipping? That's just one example. Do you have a system for sourcing? Do you have to go in and every single item, you have to look it up on your phone? Is this worth the money? Or do you have boundaries in a system where you're like, boom, 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 that's a yes or a no? Everything we do, we can have some sort of system, some type of efficiency. Is your inventory organized? Unorganized inventory or inventory like you just don't know where things are? How often do you spend time digging through bins before a show? How much time do you waste digging through totes looking for what you want to put in a show? Just curious, does anybody do that? Estate Addict says, I set up a shipping area and it makes shipping so much faster and you don't have to move everything. There you go. Look here's people saying, yep, I have totes and I'm digging through them every single week. If you do that for one show, maybe it doesn't feel bad, right? If you're digging through totes for one show, maybe it's like, okay, so I spent 20 minutes looking for my items. That's just part of my process. What about if you want to have 2 or 3 shows? That 20 items is now an hour, or 20 minutes is now an hour. If you're doing 3 shows, right? It adds up really, really quick. I have all my metals, woods, and breakables on different shelves. There you go. Instead of times like, I'm getting better, I promise. When I'm talking about systems and efficiencies, it could be within your show. It could be within your shipping, the front end of what you're doing before shows, what you're doing after shows, how organized you are. Do you run to the post office every single day or do you go every other day? Now, I know there's a lot of people are like, look, I want 1 day shipping. 1 day, that's the best. I would love to hear your guys' point of view on this because I think about this a little bit differently. We have 48 hours from Whatnot. By all means, ship within the time Whatnot says. Don't try to go outside of it. We have to stick within that. But as buyers, does it matter to you if somebody is a 1 day or a 2 day shipper? Does that come into the determination on a regular basis if you're going to buy from that person, if it says that they have 1 or 2 day shipping? We have one yes, bunch of no's, a does not matter. So we have a lot of no's. Now I know we have a small sample of people here to answer this, so this isn't like the full population of Whatnot. But the people in the room here are saying, no, look, the mail is slow anyways. Yeah. Good morning, wild, wild daisies. So think about this. You do what you feel is best for your business. I'm just throwing some thoughts out there to ponder on. If Whatnot allows us 2 days, I don't care what their rating says, but I do like to get the stuff in a timely manner, getting it to the, yeah. And I agree, Liz, I agree. And there are a lot of us that put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We're like, we have to ship one day, but if I sell in the morning, it has to be shipped that afternoon. I think naturally a lot of us put pressure on ourselves to do that. Whatnot allows us 48 hours. Okay. When people sign up on the app, they're allowed 48 hours. I pretty much believe in the way I operate my business. And again, everybody here needs to decide what works for them. I am by no means telling you what to do. I'm just throwing thoughts out there. I look at it as long as I'm shipping within the time frame that Whatnot gives me, I'm okay. Why do I say that? Going to the post office for me is a 30 to 40 minute round trip. It's not 5 minutes. I don't live across the street. I don't live in a city. It is a trip to go to the post office and back. It is not quick. If I could do that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or I could do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I could not do that 2 times and save myself almost an hour and a half of time. Would it be better to do random pulls for each individual show? Old River Trading, there is pros and cons for random pulls and for pre-listing. You need to, and I can't tell you which works better for you. I've done both. I'm right now in the midst of a random pull phase, and I am doing all random pulls. Do random pulls go faster? Does it save you time? 100%. If you're organized, because random pulls, if you're not organized, can end up costing you a ton of time on the backside where you could have saved the time had you just pre-listed everything. So I think random pulls and time really comes down to how organized are you. If you have a system that everything is being tagged or labeled in a way that they don't get mixed up, I think a random pull show ultimately is a time saver. But if you don't have a system in place, you're going to spend far more time mixing up orders and possibly create other shipping errors because you didn't have that system in place, if that makes sense. Either having a system and somebody else to help you. Liz says mine is a 7 minute drive, so that would definitely affect my system. So yeah, a 7 minute drive. I mean, so what? 14 round trip. Add a few minutes for while you're there. Hi, you're new. Well, welcome. Trying to figure out my taxes and how to keep tracking expenses and income with inventory. All right, we'll talk a little bit about tracking because that's part of a system too. So sourcing place next door to the post office. There you go. I use that as an extra excuse to ship fast. Oh, now I would be dead. If there was a sourcing place next to my post office trips would take me 3 hours. They would not be any shorter than that. There you go. JK Flips. We do pickup. From the post office. If you live in a locality that you can go to USPS.com or .gov, what is it, .com? I always forget. Go to the post office website and schedule a pickup. There's a huge time saver for you. That's an efficiency. The time you're not spending driving, you can be making money in. I tried, and I'll get back to you. I'm not ignoring your tax question. We're going to get back to it. I tried separating my items into different shows, kitchen, curio, and found that I lost viewers compared to just, okay, so maybe you have got your viewers are expecting a whole variety. I love the curated shows. I think they do better for me. Retail Rebellion, thank you so much. Be More Thrifty says, I started keeping a logbook of expenses. Thank you. I'm so glad. So let's talk about that too, because here's the other time saver. I know I push this. Pardon? Yes. I'm going to talk about go to that tax question that was asked earlier, or it was more of a statement, but this is the other time saver. A lot of people don't want to keep their books. A lot of people are going to grab their receipts and they throw it in a drawer or they throw it in a shoebox. Okay, you do you. I wouldn't recommend that at all. However, come the end of the year, come tax season, you're now spending 10, 20 hours, maybe 2, 3, 4 Saturdays trying to gather information, get all your stuff together. And I guarantee you, because you're not tracking, it's costing you money in the form of lost deductions of things that you forgot about. So you're not getting those deductions, but you're spending a ton of time once a year versus setting up 20 minutes a week to efficiently capture all of your income, your expenses, your inventory. You're making sure your mileage is up to date. Um, Oh, JK Flips, curated means selected around a theme. So, like, I'll do tomorrow morning's perfect example, glowy glass. So I'm doing only glowy glass tomorrow. Some people may do kitchen items or primitives, or it could be all women's t-shirts. So it's just items. It could be a variety of items centered around a theme. That's what curated means. And curated has the sense of being a little bougie to it. It really just means a collection of like kind items that are like handpicked, that are selected. It's not like I just went and grabbed a tote and said, let's sell this tote. So that's what it means. So think about your bookkeeping as a system, doing that on a regular basis. And I'm going to push it, but doing that on a regular basis is going to save you time at the end of the year. But let's not just think about taxes, because I think it's great. And to the girl, I'm sorry, I forgot your name already because I'm bad like that. If you have any specific questions, please feel free to ask them too about taxes. Always happy to try to talk about that. But let's think about just in our general day-to-day lives, all of this stuff. And you're like, well, Tracy, how is that making me more profit? How is, using USPS pickup or scheduling my USPS drop-offs, my post office drop-offs every other day, making me more money? Because it frees up your time. Because when your mind and your body is not spent on menial labor tasks, then you have the freedom to be creative, to think about other ways to make money. You have the freedom to maybe run a longer show. If I'm not at the post office, maybe I could be buying higher end items that are going to make me more money. So making efficiencies throughout frees up that time to do the things that will ultimately, if I'm not in a show, create more money. We'll talk about in the show. We'll talk about that part specifically in a little bit. Time is money. Yes. All right. He's giving me all kinds of looks over here. I don't know what he's doing. Did you need to speak, husband?
I just wanted to show some preview for tomorrow. Let's see if it works.
Oh, because somebody asked about curated. There we go. Here's a preview of glowy glass. We're not going to run anything today, though. I'm setting down some boundaries, y'all. We're not running today. There's our glowy glass for tomorrow. How pretty. That's one piece. Okay. So I see him moving around. Like I'm watching him up here on my phone, and I'm watching him move around. I'm like, what in the world is he doing back there? Good morning, Lori. My mom says, my post office already put my name on one of their buggies. I said, I don't so much. It's for you to buy. There you go. You guys, off topic, but let me just tell you my little dream here. I go off on tangents, and I wake up every morning with new ideas. So a couple months ago, my idea was the Whatnot house. I decided that wasn't in the cards right then. We redid our basement. Well, there is an old bank building. I live next to a town of about 700-800 people. We're like in the country. And in this little town, like when I say a town, there's no stoplight. There's a roundabout, there's a bar, a bank, there's a post office, but they're only open a couple hours in the morning, so I never go there. And then there's like a Dollar General. That's it. There is an old bank building, gorgeous brick bank building, 5,000 square feet. They are selling this bank building for $265,000. Or $295. Excuse me, I got it wrong. My husband just corrected me. I so want to buy this bank building and create a coffee shop antique store and have a glassed-in studio where we can run shows and people can drink their coffee and watch the shows while we're running them. How freaking cool is that? And then the Aaron Sphere says that he'll come and he'll serve coffee on roller skates in a cute outfit. We're talking about doing like some mini caftans for him to serve coffee. Like, oh, you guys, I so want to do this. I've even to the point of looking at small business loans to see if this is even in the realm of possibilities. I don't know if it is, because it would mean I would have to do that full time. So I don't know. It's my dream. It's in my head. I'm like, oh my God, there's the perfect place for it. I don't know if it's happening. So right now it's just this big dream in my head.
And she already gave me a job. She wants me to be a barista.
Yes.
Tisk, tisk.
How cool would that be though? If we had like a glassed in studio and you could run shows and people could just sip their coffee and then find some way to incorporate that audience too. I think that would be amazing. Um, most yeah, I would need to get people there. I mean, we are close to some other bigger cities, so that would be a consideration is foot traffic. They're starting to build neighborhoods around this little town that we're in, so I don't know. I just thought it's really cool. Side note, we'll get back to talking what we're going to talk about. But this is literally every single phone call me and my husband have had the whole time I've been in Dallas has been going back and forth about this idea. The road trip. There we go.
Look at what I bid on. It's less than 700. This is the town has got one gas station and that's it.
Yeah. Crystals, they could bid. We could do local pickup. You can grab your coffee, the whole bit. I mean, it would be awesome. Uh, we're like I said, it's a big idea. Who knows what's going to happen with it? There's a lot riding on it because y'all, I don't have the money. I can't just outright buy this building and go into business because it's not just buying the building. It's buying all the equipment. It's hiring people. It's remodeling the place. It would be a huge, huge undertaking that I'm not sure because I work full time. That would mean I would have to give up a very secure income to go do something that could be very risky. There's a lot of risk with that. There we go. All right. So we're talking about repeatable systems, things that the efficiencies in your systems. You're coming in hot. I love it, you guys. Thank you. You're also supportive. Um, so thinking about those systems, repeatable, easy to do. I want you to picture McDonald's. You know, I would say most of you here probably have been to inside a McDonald's, right? And you're at the counter and you see them in the background. I worked at a McDonald's. And if any of you have worked fast food, you know this is true. They don't, it's not like the people making your burgers get to make it the way they want every single time. They have pictures on their little assembly line. There are pictures that says you do the bun, you do your little splash of ketchup, you stick it here, you do this. Like there are step by step by step instructions on how to assemble a cheeseburger. Why? So they do it the same way every time, which creates efficiencies, and not only in that store, but it's a repeatable system through every single McDonald's. A lot of people work temporarily for the knowledge of it. Yeah, we have been looking for more land. Yeah, oh, that's you. Um, I'm like, oh, that's his comment. I don't need to read his comment. Um, so, and they still mess up the burgers. They do. I like, come on, people. It's pictures in front of you. Don't mess up my burger. But the idea here is a system that's the same every single time because it becomes efficient. It's like a gymnast who gets up on that balance beam. Pretty soon, it's muscle memory. There's certain moves they do that they don't even think about. Their body just instinctively does. It's the same way with our systems. If we get to that point, we create the efficiencies that we're talking about. This is why systems are so highly important in our business, in everything we do. As much as you can standardize the things you're doing, the more time you'll create for the things that you want to do or the things that are making you money, one or the other. So the next part of it, we're going to kind of move away from systems and we're going to talk about another part about how are we going to make more money? And this comes from profit comes from clarity. So let's put systems aside. And this is going to seem a little like, Tracy, how is this going to make me more money? But trust me, you got to go with it. You got to hang in here and trust me. You can't improve what you don't measure. This has been a huge focus of our CEO challenge of picking a metric and focusing on it. I would bet you and guarantee you anything. I don't guarantee a lot of things, but this is one thing I absolutely could guarantee you. When you pick a metric, when you pick something in your business that you focus on and you pay attention to and you put time and effort into it, it will improve. It improves because you are putting the time and effort into it. You can go every day. You could say, let's put this in a personal thing. You could be like, you know what? My laundry always piles up. I really wish that it would get better and I wouldn't have piles of laundry on my laundry room floor. And you can live like that and you can go every day and you can be like, oh, I'm going to do it a little bit better. I'm going to be better. And 2 or 3 days goes by and then, oh, there's a pile again. Oh, I'm going to do better. Let me put that in the washer. But if you stopped in your personal life and you said, you know what? I'm sick and tired of having laundry on my laundry room floor and I'm going to change this. And you say, okay, when I put my coffee on to brew, when my coffee's brewing, I'm going to go start that load and I'm going to fold the other load every single morning without fail. I'm going to make sure I do this. And then you put a little sign by your coffee mug. You're paying attention to this. You put a sign to remind yourself, and you start doing that. Guess what? You're going to not have piles anymore. That system improves. That thing in your life improves. The same thing with your business. What you pick to focus on, what you pick to measure improves. And when I'm talking, we have all of our common stuff: average order value, your sell-through rates, your profit, your items sold per hour. That's not one for me, but for a lot of volume people, that's a metric. When you pick that and you focus on it and you start thinking of ways to improve it and things you can do and things maybe not to do, it will change. So a lot of people will sit on Whatnot and they'll be like, but I tried 10 shows and I'm not making any money and then nothing. What are you focused on? Are you focused on trying to fix everything? Are you really focused in on trying to do one thing? I'm going to use what Liz likes as an example. She sells from her janky basement, as she calls it. I love it. It's part of her atmosphere, her vibe, and that just down to earth, friendly nature that's created in her shows. But at one point, her whole basement was filled, and I'm not giving away any little secrets here. She talked about it. This was part of before she went into her dollar starts, and she's like, "Look, I'm clearing this basement out." So how long until then, you're open book, how long before then was the basement full? Like she was doing life and doing whatever it is in her life and the basement was full. But then when she was like, I'm focused in. I am focused in on clearing out this basement. I'm going to sell all this stuff. I'm going to do what I want to do down here, right? Within like what did it take, Liz, to clear it out? 2 months? Like it was fast. It was pretty darn fast. And throughout the course of this, she would be like, look at all these empty boxes. Look at this clear space. Check this out, because she focused in on it. It's the same with any of our businesses. You want to increase your average order value. You want to make more money in a show. You got to focus in on making more money in the show. You've got to make decisions that are focused in on how do I create that? How do I do that? So a lot of people, what happens is clearing the basement meant more profit. I cleared it 4 months and it was a packed basement. Like she would show us on during her shows, boxes and boxes of things. So what did she do? She says, okay, I want to clear this out. What's my strategy? It's not just I want to do it. It's like I'm going to do it. I'm going to do dollar starts. I'm going to do shows 4 or 5 days a week. I'm going to treat this like it's my 9 to 5 job. I'm going to be on time. It was a concentrated, focused effort on one thing: clear the basement. That's how anything, if you want to make more money, if you want to have more people in your room, whatever it is that you want to improve to make that profit, you have to focus on it. It's getting like this laser beam in on whatever it is. Polish picker. I had an 8-hour Christmas show, killed me, but you cleared all the totes of the Christmas. That was your goal. So I know that I say this and a lot of people are like, yeah, okay. It changes you. It changes the way you view whatever it is. If your sell-through rate, if you show 100 items and you sell 70 of them during that show, that's a 70% sell-through rate. That's a darn good sell-through rate. If you want your sell-through rate to be 100, you can't just keep doing the same thing you're doing, because you're going to keep getting the same thing you get, right? You're going to keep getting the same 70%. If you want to go from selling 70 items to selling all 100 items, then you start focusing on it and say, what am I going to do different? Maybe I'm going to lower my prices so the things sell faster. Maybe I'm going to make a little bit higher quality of items to make them more appealing. Maybe I'm going to spend more time in the show to talk them up. Whatever it is, there's different ways to accomplish each goal, but it's being that laser focused on that goal. And then once you get that down, you know what happens? Surprisingly, amazingly, while you're so focused on fixing one thing, that becomes a habit and a system, and it becomes ingrained in the way you do things. And then you move on to something else. You normally don't lose the first thing. Now you're improving the next item and you're improving the next thing. And you keep doing this throughout the course of your business. That is the growth and the improvement as your business goes on. And all of a sudden you wake up and you say, wow, 6 months ago, I was making $1,000 a month and now I'm making $5,000 a month on Whatnot. That's how it happens. It doesn't happen because you just want it to happen. It doesn't happen because you're just like, I'm going to show up and do a show. That's great. You need to show up and do a show. Good morning, Coach Karma. You need to show up and do the show. But the growth and the improvement and the more money is because you're focused on specific aspects and you're improving time and time again. So some of the other things that I want to, when we start looking at like the financial side of it, the numbers, the improving your average order value. Some of the other ways of improving, we talk about making more money with less effort, right? A little bit ago, we talked about doing your bookkeeping on a regular basis. How many people, you don't give me the number, you don't need to disclose anything confidential, but how many people could right now, if I asked you, could tell me exactly what your percentage you spent on fees last month was? Or exactly how much you spent on shipping supplies right off the bat? You know, or you could just open up your whatever system and know like that. I love seeing the yeses and the me's. I have I have caught the cyclospora. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have been on the fence about starting to sell on Whatnot for a long time now. I have been getting information past few weeks. Well, Ashley, welcome to Whatnot. I say go for it. There is no better time to start than right now. All right, so we have a few me's. We have a few yeses that can tell you right away, and that's awesome because understanding that information instantly tells you not only where you're at with that, but it tells you where you can improve. So understanding all of your numbers, not just your metrics, but in the rest of your business tells you where you can improve. If I don't know how much I'm spending on my shipping supplies, how do I know if I can improve that? If I'm lowering those costs by any, if I can spend less in any category, I'm increasing my profit, right? I'm making more money. So there's more than just efficiencies. It's more than just systems. It's also knowledge. That knowledge helps you have more money at the end of the day. That's being smarter, working smarter, not harder. Crickets. Mary's like, nope, sorry, crickets. I don't know. Um, okay. Your boundaries also protect your profit. How do you make more money without putting in all the extra effort? Less hours, make more profit in less hours? Having boundaries. Sometimes our profits are just, they disappear, they get chipped away because we're too nice. I know. Actually, I am in Pennsylvania, but right now I'm in Dallas. I live in Pennsylvania, but I am traveling for work. So I'm actually, I am in physically in Dallas, but we're normally in Pennsylvania. So I'm super new, 6 months. I can say shipping, but not fees. Do I need to track them? Or will not tell me at the end of the year? We're going to talk a little bit about fees at the end of this, but what is it? Bonds, books. Everybody should know their fees every month. Why? Because if you wait till the end of the year, that's telling me you're not doing any accounting or bookkeeping throughout the year. And the only reason you're even pulling together stuff is for taxes. That's not a survivable business. Any business with any longevity to it, any business that's going to be successful and survives, knows their numbers month to month to month, because our accounting isn't just for taxes. We do our accounting to know where we've been and also to use it as a roadmap to project where we need to go. How can I know? Let's go back to our focus. How can I say I've been making $2,000 or $3,000 a month? I need to make 5,000. How am I going to do that? There's only two ways to make more money when we're looking from a financial aspect, not efficiencies, not systems, but from a financial aspect, is spend less or bring more in. How do I know which one of those to do and where to focus on if I'm not tracking? So 100% you should be tracking your fees without doubt. You should be tracking your fees, your shipping, your mileage, everything that goes into your accounting records. We are south of York, south of Harrisburg, about an hour south of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So we're right on the Maryland border. And if you guys are anywhere near Pennsylvania, we have a Pennsylvania meetup. I'm going to plug it. Now's my time here. October 3rd. So if you're anywhere in the area, tickets are in the bin. $28 gets you breakfast and lunch, continental breakfast. I don't want to make it seem like you're getting bacon and eggs. You're getting a continental breakfast, but you are going to get a buffet lunch. So October 3rd, 9 to 3, if you're anywhere in the area. See, yeah, we're very close. I really want to come and just check out and see, because I think I have a, well, see if you can make it work. Franklin City. I don't know where Franklin City is. What's like the major? PBJ, what's the major? Like, I'm sure to you Franklin's major, but I don't know a lot of the towns around here. We've only lived here for a while. Franklin County. Franklin County. I still don't know where that is. Oh, you're in Oregon. Hey, they got planes. You can just hop on a plane. Chambersburg. I know Chambersburg. That one sounds familiar. Okay, so if you're anywhere near, definitely buy some tickets. What's up with my screen, hon? What are we looking at? What did you do to me there? There we go. I'm back. Okay. Um, you Mechanicsburg. I'm not too far from Mechanicsburg. So I hate the paperwork side. Do you think a virtual bookkeeper and a remote person is worth it? Ren found it. I think it's 100% worth it if you can afford it, if it's in your budget, and if it's going to make you more efficient. If that's the only way it's going to get done, I would say yes, 100%. If bookkeeping, if you're like, look, nope, not me, not doing it, then I would 100% say yes, that it would be worth it. And a virtual bookkeeper could be a lot less expensive than maybe one in person also. I add the take home after fees as what I make each week, but I should instead put gross minus. Yes, absolutely. So bonds books, you point out a good point that a lot of people get wrong on Whatnot. A lot of people think that what you withdraw from Whatnot is it's your profit for the show, but that's what you record is your revenue. It is not what you record. You record the total sale, then you record your fees, any shipping that was taken out, promotions, anything that pulled out of that, coupons. So you record the total revenue and then minus all those things that Whatnot deducts from it. Why? Because when you get to the end of the year, your 1099 is going to be that gross. It's going to be the total amount. If you're only recording what you're pulling out of Whatnot, you're missing a big chunk of revenue that you're supposed to be reporting on. And then where they get it wrong on their taxes is they report only what they pull out of Whatnot as their revenue, and then they still claim the fees, and that's like double dipping. So you can't do it that way. You stated earlier that you work full-time outside of Whatnot. Are you employed in what career field? I'm a CPA, so I'm a certified public accountant. I'm licensed in 2 states. I work for a global accounting firm. And what I do there, I used to be client facing. So I've done tax work. I used to be a CFO at a nonprofit years ago, but in the role I'm in now, I used to be client facing, and now I work for our professional practice group where I write trainings and I travel around and I run conferences and train our auditors for the firm. My parents and brothers are in around here. Eugene, Southeast Louisiana. There you go, Josie. Okay. Yep, go back and fix those because you want your records to be right. There's no way if you're only recording what you pull out of Whatnot that it will ever match your 1099 at the end of the year. And that's where people start saying, well, Whatnot's wrong. They said I made all this money and I really didn't. Well, no, you did. You just didn't record it correctly throughout the year. Is there a giveaway running? He's yelling at me. There's a giveaway running. Y'all into that giveaway. We're doing CEO affirmation cards as usual. I am the Glass Granny. I'm supposed to be flying home around 3 o'clock today. Fingers crossed that there's nothing wrong with my flight today. This is always the touchy one. Going from Dallas back to Baltimore at 3 in the afternoon is when the storms come in. So it's a flight that's often delayed, but I don't end here till around noon. So like my work here isn't done till around 12, so I can't take an earlier flight. So hopefully things go good. For those of you, last time I came to Dallas, this exact conference last month, I got stuck, had to spend an extra night. It was a whole thing. We're talking about boundaries though. So, and the reason why boundaries are so important is because sometimes, look, this is community. We mix up in our heads community with kindness. They're not the same thing. Community and kindness are 2 separate words. They mean 2 different things. But we think to be part of the community, we need to give too much stuff. You'll get stuck in. Oh, yes, Louisville. I've gotten stuck in a lot of places around the country in my travels. But we think that we have to give stuff for free. We have to do things because of the community. And we don't. You're a business. You set your business boundaries. Now, by all means, I'm not saying go and be a you know what, don't be mean, but we don't have to do what we see everybody else doing. There is no rule that you have to do giveaways. There is no rule that you have to put stuff in people's boxes. There is no rule that you have to use coupons or you have to use rewards or you have to do dollar starts or you have to discount your items. There's no rules around any of that. Those are things that you decide what you want to do for your business. Now, you're going to hear a lot of us talk about the benefits of doing different things like that and the cons of it, but you decide, you set your boundaries. We don't have to give things for free. Everything you give for free eats away at your profit. So we want to talk about how do how do we make more money with the same hours without increasing hours? Look at one show that you're doing. Just take a show. If you are a person who's doing giveaways or discounting or, coupons, even, and this is hard for me to say, y'all, because you know how much I love coupons. Doing coupons or putting things in boxes, take a show or take a week of shows and look at how much that's actually costing you. You want to increase your profit instantly? Don't do that. Now, again, I'm outside of the box. I'm giving ideas on how to increase profit. You make your own decisions on what to do, but at least know what that's costing you. Know how much that expense is. Reduce shipping, free shipping. You're tracking a metric. How long do you hold what you're doing before changing it again to see the results? In my opinion, I would go 4 to 6 weeks, depending what it is. Like if I'm doing average order value, 4 weeks, I may see a small increase, and that may be enough indicator for me to keep going another 4, 8, 12 weeks to really see it. Most stuff is about a quarter. You're going to do something for about a quarter. So it depends. It kind of depends what it is. If I'm looking at, and let me answer it like this. After 4 weeks, I'm going to look and see where it's trending. Am I keeping the needle the same? Has it gone down? Has it gone up even just a little bit? Because you're not going to see massive change in 4 weeks. But if the needle is the same or maybe gone up a little bit, I can say, okay, I think I'm on the right path. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing a bit longer so I have more data to really, evaluate this. If it's gone down, I'm going to stop and say, whoa, I've done something for 4 weeks and it's having the opposite effect. Let's go back to where I was at even and try something a little bit different, right? How often I'm trying to read it. How often do I run my shows? I do shows 5. Oh, my husband's over here talking to me. I'm like, what are you saying? He's saying it also is how often you run your shows. I don't necessarily agree with the how often you run your shows on tracking your metric, because if you're comparing, if your metric, if you've always done one show a week and then you pick a metric and you continue to do one show a week, you're comparing apples to apples. But if you've done 3 shows a week and then you go down to 1 show or you go up, if there's a massive change in the number of shows you're doing, now you're not comparing apples to apples. So now maybe you need to give your metric a little more time to have a baseline. Livy says, I feel like coupons cost me less, but max shipping will probably get me more. Good morning, Eves Jack. Hello. Max shipping will probably get me more sales. Livy, I would agree with that. From my perspective, I would 100% agree that coupons, I love coupons. Love them, love them, love them. PT Grace, congratulations on that giveaway. Thank you for being here.
Congratulations.
Love the coupons. But yes, I think max shipping will encourage more people to buy over coupons. If I had to pick one or the other, if I was like, okay, I can only do one thing, I would pick max shipping before using a coupon. Yep, there you go. Previously mentioned says, I'm phasing out giveys. I've noticed it affects your average order value. So when you're calculating your average order value, and it's interesting you said this, because I was in Josie's Junk in the Trunk Mercantile and Livy Will were doing a co-host the other day, and I was in their room, and they were actually talking about calculating your average order value. You have to pull out the giveys because there's zero, right? You have an item and it's zero profit for that item because you're giving it away. It skews your results. You have to pull the giveys out of that equation. So those of you who maybe are new or haven't done it before, your average order value is the total amount, your total gross sales divided by the number of items you sold. So that's the average sales price across the board for all your items, your average order value. Well, if you're the total number of things sold, if you're counting those giveys in there, you're skewing your results. You have to pull the giveys out in order to calculate it. Yeah. Should giveaways be considered? Yes, giveaways are totally considered marketing. And here's the thing. We come on Whatnot. I love a good giveaway. Heck, I'm running giveaways in here right now. But giveaways shouldn't just be an expectation. Again, set your boundaries. Okay? Because if you stop doing giveaways, you stop putting stuff in boxes, immediately you're going to make more money in that time that you ran that show. Immediately, because you're not just putting money in for free, right? Now, if you want to do giveaways, yes, they are marketing. My next question for you is, what is your marketing budget? I can guarantee you most of the people on Whatnot doing giveaways do not have a marketing budget. They're just doing giveaways because it feels good. They think it's an expectation. They think it's going to get people to stay in their room. They think that, it makes them look good in the show, whatever it is, but they're not doing it because they have a marketing budget. There we go. Yeah, we're just gonna run Whatnot, aren't we? So think about, if you're doing those giveaways, if you have a marketing budget, that's a thought through. That is a conscious decision at the beginning of the month or the beginning of the quarter, saying I'm going to spend X number of dollars in my marketing. So now we're not talking about losing money in a show. We're not talking about lowering your profit in a show. We're talking about a decision on how to attract more buyers to increase it. It takes it from giving something away to being used as a tool to increase your profit. Should the shipping cost of the giveaway go under your marketing line budget? Yeah, I would put that completely under marketing. That's how I would just take that whole cost of that. For me, I would consider that marketing. So I'm glad you asked that, because that's kind of like a gray area. I talk about these gray areas in the IRS and in taxes. That's one of them where it's like, heck, I can put that under shipping. I can put that under marketing. I would put that under marketing. Some of these things you kind of, you fill out, you put it where it makes sense for you. The reason I would put it under marketing is I wouldn't have that shipping expense if I wasn't giving it away. And this also segregates where I'm putting my shipping expense. If I'm only using that I'm shipping items that made me money, the items I'm selling, it allows me to analyze my true shipping expense against the profit I'm making. So when I tell you that, I'm spending about 15% doing reduced shipping, 15% of my profit is spent on offering reduced shipping, I know that 15% is tied directly to the sales that I'm making and doesn't include all these, 78 cents for my giveaways, because that's in a separate bucket. So it gives me true analytics to really look at. Now, if I took all the shipping I did on these, PWE giveaways, I'm doing about 20 a week times 4, so 2, 4, 6, 8, about $80 a month in shipping. That would skew my numbers and make me think reduced shipping cost me more than it actually is. Does that make sense? That's part of the reason we do our accounting, is to be able to analyze it and look at and see true numbers to make decisions from. Because I may make a different decision if I think reduced shipping cost me 20% and it's really only costing me 15. Where would you put shipping costs you cover if you use max shipping? No, I wouldn't put those as marketing. To me, those are my shipping. Like I was just saying, that's tied to a revenue producing item. I'm giving seeds that I grow currently, but usually don't do them. So just shipping cost, repurposed items for buyers. I love it. And I am not telling people don't do giveaways, don't put things in boxes. What I'm saying is, think about the cost of it. If your goal, the whole talk today is about how to increase your profit without adding hours. One of the ways to do that is look at what you're doing within a show, and giveaways and putting things in boxes, discounts, all of these things we named are things you do within a show that cost you money. If you want to increase your profit, don't do things that cost you money. So every decision we make, particularly when it comes to discounts, giveaways, putting stuff in boxes, it seems harmless. It seems like, oh, this is so sweet. No, this isn't a bad thing. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but it just seems very harmless until you get to the end of the month and you add it up and you realize, like I just gave you an example. I'm doing PWE shipping, PWE giveaways here. That's what, 78 cents. The, value of it is a couple of bucks. Just in shipping alone, that's $80 a month, approximately, give or take. It's approximately $80 a month. That's still $80 a month. Is it thousands? No, but it's still $80 a month. During a show, does it seem like a lot when we hit giveaway 4 or 5 times for a PWE? No, it doesn't feel like it during a show, but it adds up. It's just like that mileage. That 3.5 cent increase the IRS just did adds up big time. So do your giveaways. So do the things you put in boxes. So as long as that's something acceptable that you are like, look, I have the budget for this, I'm okay with this, go for it. But if you want to increase your profit per hour without adding more time, that may be something to look at. Shipping is revenue. Shipping is revenue cost deduction. Yes, shipping is a tax deduction. So yes, shipping is deducted from your total revenue when you're calculating your net profit for bookkeeping or your taxable income, your net for taxes. Like opposed, like opposed to the Gibby. Correct, correct, Livy, correct. Cornelia, no, no, please do the shipping. It's free today, so you're not going to have to pay for it, Cornelia. So don't do local. I don't even think I have local pickup turned on. If I do, then I do, but normally I don't. So it's a mistake if I did turn it on. But you guys, we do have free shipping. On Fridays, there's always free shipping because we don't sell any real big stuff. I am, however, have started my Tuesday vintage variety shows as free shipping shows. Unfortunately, my travel has kind of screwed that up for 2 weeks, but we will be back soon to our Tuesday free shipping shows. I'm on the fence about starting to sell on Whatnot, and would it be more profitable just to do giveaways for buyers only here, so no extra shipping cost? This and that. My question for you is, why would you do a buyer's giveaway? I'm going to preface this. I'm not against buyer's giveaways. I personally don't do them, but I ask anybody who's doing buyer's giveaways, why are you doing them? I want to think through the buyer's giveaway thing. Just most people will say, most of the common answer is to encourage people to buy. So that tells me if you're doing it to encourage people to buy during the show, that giveaway needs to be something good. It needs to be something that encourages people, right? Because stickers and a postcard are not going to encourage people to buy from you. Something little, something less valuable is not really something that encourages. It's something usually of higher value or equal value to the items that you're selling. So when you think like that, that means, okay, that's fine. But only one person wins that. How many buyers do you have? You have one, and only one wins that buyer's giveaway. What if you took the money you spent on that and you lowered your price starting bids a little bit, or you did a couple special dollar starts or low starts, or you offered a reduced shipping? So instead of putting money on the buyer's giveaways, now you're encouraging everybody in the room to buy in a way that's profitable to you and beneficial to them. It's a win-win, more so than a buyer's giveaway is. What's it called? The cost loss thing. The cost loss. Oh, like a loss leader? Like putting something up that is of a value that you're not going to make money on. It would be a loss leader. If that, okay. To thank all my buyers with something good. Again, I'm not against that. And I'm not ever going to chastise somebody for making the decisions they make in their business. What I am going to do is try to push you. I'm going to try to give you all these other views just so that people can think about it. It doesn't mean that I'm saying this is the only way to do it. It's like, hey, I'm going to play devil's advocate over here and just throw out other thoughts and ideas. You're saying to thank all my buyers. You're only thinking one. With a buyer's giveaway, you're only thinking one person, and that's the person who wins. Are you going to offer reduced shipping with the, I am, honeysuckle, absolutely. As a matter of fact, the reason that I started free shipping on Tuesdays was to stand strong, to demonstrate and stand behind my word that these shipping charges are a good thing. These shipping charges are not going to hurt us. They are a good thing. Now, if you normally ship things that are less than 5 pounds, yeah, I think that's going to be a little more expensive for you based on the prices they had up there a couple of weeks ago. Whatnot has since taken those prices down, so I do not know what they're going to be anymore. But 100% I'm going to stick with reduced shipping and my free shipping on Tuesdays. I've seen a couple sellers here having a listing such as $10 to enter for a raffle to win a prize. That is not allowed. Cornelia Vintage, that is absolutely against terms of service. And I'm not the Whatnot police, but I do report when I see that. That is 100% wrong. The only way you're allowed to do a giveaway on this app is through the mechanism that Whatnot has set up. So it's through the giveaway process that you go in and enter the giveaway. Giveaways outside that system are absolutely against terms of service. I've seen the same thing too, where they'll do a listing for $5-10 and then they put names in a hat or something and pick it out. Not allowed. Sorry, the gilded shoreline. I just popped in. Did you say we can use what it cost us to ship as a deduction? Is there somewhere that we can? Yes, 100%. When you're doing reduced shipping and you're paying any portion of that shipping, or even when it's a buyer pays all and maybe you have some adjustments and you go over the 5 and you have to pay something, which I don't know why that would happen unless you're unbundling or something. But any shipping you pay that comes out of your pocket is tax deductible. You find those numbers in 2 places. So when people are swiping, so when they're swiping during a show, the shipping happens. When you have reduced shipping on, the buyer's going to pay some, and then you're going to pay some. When that sale happens, that's charged immediately to you right then in real time. So when you go to your shipping screen, then after the show, you go to your shipping screen. At the top of your shipping screen on your computer, there's a shipping cost. That's all the shipping cost that you paid. Okay, not what the buyer paid, but if there's any number up there in that shipping cost, that's what you paid during the show. Then as you're doing your shipping, if you have any adjustments over those 5 free and whatnot, will pop that box up and says, hey, this one's going to cost you $2. Are you okay? And you hit yes, keep going. Those adjustments go straight to your ledger. So after every show or once a week, you need to go in and take the one from the shipping screen and look at your ledger and add those 2 numbers together to get your total cost of shipping per show, per week, per however you're doing your accounting. And all of that is tax deductible at the end of the year because you're paying. It's a business expense that you're paying. And the other place to see it, and then, to me, I use this kind of as a gut check, as a, let's make sure I recorded things right, is once a month on the 4th of every single month, Whatnot releases your monthly financial statement. So if you're on your computer under Seller Hub, you go to finances, there's like little tabs that'll come up and you can pick monthly. So then on the 4th of the month, you can get your monthly statement for the prior month, and it's going to tell you all of that shipping on there. It's going to tell you fees, your gross, your fees, your shipping. What else does it tell you? Promotions, how much money you pulled out. So it's going to give you like a little monthly summary. Please consider what you're putting in the box. What you're putting in the box. I bought fabric recently and they decided to throw candy in there. Oh, which melted and ruined the fabric. Couture Karma, I love that advice right there. We think we're doing good by dropping things in boxes, but there's a perfect example of why you shouldn't. Here's the other thing. We don't know people's allergies. We don't know people's preferences. I know it comes from a good place. Nobody's dropping free stuff in the box to be mean. It always comes from a good place. It's not always well received. So really think about what you put in boxes because it's not well received, particularly when it comes to food items, because there is a ton of allergies out there and you just don't know. I would prefer people not send candy to. I throw it away. I'm a little iffy about it. I'm that mom that checks the Halloween candy thoroughly, so I'm a little iffy when people send me candy.
Cornelia Vintage, could you please check your DM?
Yeah, we don't know each other. There you go. I'm not going to eat your candy. I'm also the one picky about potlucks. I don't like potlucks because I don't know which one of your animals was walking on the kitchen counter while you were cooking. That grosses me out. Sorry for you pet lovers. I just don't want cat hair in my food, and I don't know what you're like. I don't know if you're clean people. I don't do potlucks. They just, personal preference, just grosses me out. Now, if you're my best friend and I'm super familiar with you, different story. Hard no. Like other people are like, yeah, I get you.
Me too, like Gary.
No Liz nacho party. Now, Liz, maybe. I've never been in her kitchen, but she doesn't strike me as a dirty person. So, do you use an inventory system that tracks each item's purchase price sold? I do not, Rusted Moth. I use an Excel sheet and I track in total. I track averages. I do not track each individual item. Right now, I'm selling about 150 items a week. And that's considered small. That would be difficult. To get to where I want to go, it is impossible to track every single item. We go back to systems and time saving. It's more worth my time to track averages than it is every single individual item. I'm a new seller and haven't had my first show. I don't know enough about shipping and adjustments, and I can't afford to pay a lot of overages. Honeysuckle, then it's really simple. And I wouldn't encourage any brand new person, never would I encourage them to do reduced shipping or free shipping to start out with. I always encourage new people, do buyer pays all for a couple of shows and get your data and understand the numbers, understand the system before you make a decision to do something else. So having said that, if you put your weights in the right way, in Whatnot, if you weigh your items, account for how much packing material would go with that item and put your weight in properly, it will ship properly. If you do the job correctly on the front end, you won't have a problem. Whatnot actually has a really good system in the way that it bundles and it figures out what to put in one box. It is actually really good. I know we get frustrated and you hear, oh, they bundle all these things together. Unbundling is easy. And if your buyer pays all, you shouldn't have worries about it. Also, keep in mind that you want stuff that's going to fit in a 12 by 12 box. Don't go start shipping big old printer trays because then you will have problems. So keep things at a reasonable size and enter it into the system. I don't know what my husband's showing me something. I can't see it. Okay. The other thing on shipping, you can always, I Love Discounts, and I'm going to plug them till the end of time. I Love Discounts on Monday nights at 5 p.m. They do Ship Happens. They will answer your shipping questions, bring stuff up on the screen, walk you through in depth. There they are right there. Walk you through in depth. They also have a YouTube with a bunch of shipping shows on there. So 100% trustworthy people. Blasian Bunny is another one to go to who answers shipping questions. Those are two that I would trust hands down. There are others. Those are the top two on my head. So I'm not purposely excluding anybody. Okay, hold on. Retail says, wait, can you go back to your inventory system? I track individually, but that could be holding me back from growth. Absolutely. So retail, track averages. When you go to, and I don't know what you sell or what you're buying, but I'm going to use myself as an example. I can go to the antique store and spend $500 and get 100 things. That's $5 per item, right? That's my inventory cost. I put $500 goes into my inventory. I know my items are $5 a piece. Usually I'll use a sticker system. I have different color stickers for different price points. I stick my $5, my whatever color associates with $5 onto that item, and that goes on my shelf. In my books, it's $500. That's all I need to know is what's in my books is $500. I don't need to put this vase and this vase and this cup. It's a waste of my time to do it that way. And the reason I put stickers is because I don't even track what goes out. Okay, there's 4 things for inventory, you guys. To keep a good inventory system, you need 4 things. What you started with, what came in, what went out, and what you ended with. However you track that, nobody cares as long as it's accurate. Okay, so I track what comes in total. I don't care what goes out. Why? Because at the end of the month, I can walk through my inventory and quickly see by my stickers how much I have. I can get an actual physical count. If I know my beginning, what I bought and what I ended with, a simple math formula tells me what went out. It makes it fast. It makes it easy. And I don't actually do physical inventory on a monthly basis. I'll do physical inventory annually, but I also know my average inventory cost and how many items, and I'll use that as a temporary metric throughout the month. So let's go back to Livy here. So I do max shipping. I do max Friday or Saturday. Do I get 10 adjustments depending if I want to ship? It depends how many you have. So if you didn't use your 5 from this week, they reset around somebody, if you know the exact time, it's Sunday night, early Monday morning, sometime they reset, but you'll never have 10. So you need to use your first 5 if you're trying to maximize that, and then use your next 5 like Sunday and then Monday. Monday, you'll get new ones. Somewhere overnight, I wake up and they're there, so I don't know the exact time they come. And you guys, there is nothing wrong with using your adjustments. You'll hear other people say, don't touch them. Don't use them the least as you possibly can. Why? Whatnot gives them to you. You know why they give them to us? Because we don't have a shipping bucket. If we overpay shipping, Whatnot keeps that money. This is a compensation thing. This is a give and take by Whatnot. Those adjustments are there for you to use. Do not feel guilty about using those adjustments. Honey, we got a request. Can you throw up I Love Discounts again for their shipping show? And I Love Discounts, if you want to throw something in there, if you're still here. Oh, there it is. Edge of Harvest, the person right above you, that's I Love Discounts as a shipping person. I switched to that method and was able to lower my starts and had the best show since I started. Bullets and bows. Wonderful. Wonderful. I love that. Congratulations on having your best show. Yes, Libby, if if you think it through, you can make it work. I use my adjustments every single week. I do reduce shipping. There's adjustments galore. I don't even, they just happen. I don't even like realize they're happening. They're happening. Like it's not even something I'm focused on. Um, I wish we can purchase adjustments. I don't wish we can purchase adjustments. I wish we had our bucket of shipping. So if there was overpaid shipping, we would only pay exact. That we could, if we had overpaid, we have money to pull from, like some other platforms, like Etsy has, like your shipping funds there. That's what I wish we had. However, I'm not going to complain, you guys. There's I Love Discounts right there for your shipping show. For the person that asked, it's right there. Ship happens. I'm not going to complain about whatnot shipping though. Thank you for pulling that up. It's cheap. We have cheap shipping. Where did I go? We're back on camera. You keep making me disappear here. All right, thank you. I'm sorry if you answered this. For taxes, we don't have to have an itemized list of what we. No, you don't. You don't. The IRS will never ask you for an itemized list. Never. Now, if you're audited, they may ask you for some type of proof that your cost of goods was what you reported it to be, or your ending inventory is what you reported it to be. So that's when you need to show that you did an inventory count, you have the receipts from the things you purchased. That's all you need to do. They're never going to ask you for an itemized list. And that's only if you're audited. It's not, when we do your when you guys do taxes, you don't have to put receipts with it. The IRS is a trust but verify system. They trust what you're putting on your return is accurate information. That's us being good, ethical, tax-paying people, that we're going to be honest on our tax return. Then they verify, they trust, and occasionally they verify through the form of audits. It is no different than what I tell everybody here. I'm giving you information, other people gives you information. Trust, but go check it out for yourself. Go verify it. The IRS is the same. And we tend to look at like audits as this terrible bad thing. No, it's just the IRS doing their job, making sure that you're being honest in what you're reporting. There is Blasian Bunny too. So Blasian Bunny was the other one that I talked about. She actually sells some shipping materials that walk you through like step by step. So again, there's many more out there. These were the top two in my head. Next show I do, I'll probably talk about different ones, but look at those two. Just because I don't mention anybody's names doesn't mean I'm against anybody. I'm getting to the point that I feel like I have to do disclaimers on whatnot because things get so twisted and turned around. It's ridiculous. Are the adjustments automatic, or do you have? They're automatic. Your 5 adjustments are automatically applied. You do not need to do anything. Whatnot just gives them to you. That's why I say too, like, don't feel bad about using them, because it's not even like you have a choice. Like, they're automatically done. So, do your due diligence. Yes. Look what I bid on. I love it. Yes. Do your due diligence. So if I missed your question, I'm sorry. I think I'm caught up, but if I missed it, put it back in there, please. So we were talking about setting healthy boundaries. Setting your boundaries protects your margins. It keeps us from being too nice and just giving things away. Pricing boundaries. We talk in our CEO challenge, we talk a lot about emotional discounting. When you go into a show and you set your prices, that's your pricing boundary. If you're doing $10 starts, be confident and strong in that. There is a reason why you chose $10 as your starting price. Now, I'm not saying 10 is best or wrong. Just it's an example. If you chose that number, I'm assuming you put some thought into that. There's a reason behind your thinking and why it's $10. Do not let anybody in your room who bullies you. Oh, can't you reduce it some? Can you do that? Can you bundle these couple of items for $10? No, my prices are $10. Thank you very much. You don't even need to apologize for it. This is your policy. These are your boundaries. You're protecting your profits. So the other side of emotional discounting is, okay, I've thought through this. $10 is my price. I'm going to run everything at $10. And you're running stuff and nobody's bidding. And you inside of you start to your chest gets tight. You're getting a little anxious. You got that fake smile and you're pretending to be happy. And in your head, you're like, why isn't anybody bidding? What am I doing wrong? Oh my God. And then you go, okay, everybody, we're going to make this $8, because you let that anxiety take over, that emotion take over, instead of standing strong in the price you decided to stand on. That's emotional discounting. Don't. Set your boundaries and stick to your boundaries. Now, if you know going into a show, your plan is, okay, I'm going to run through everything. If I get no bids, maybe that's telling me, that's feedback saying my prices are too high. I'm going to run through every item. If that doesn't work, then I plan to go to $8 or $9. If that is a thought through plan going into it, that is very different than being in the moment and reacting because of that stress you're feeling that something's not, people aren't buying something. Deb says, I'm the worst at this, especially when the show is slow. I've lowered prices and it sells and you kick yourself. Yeah, there, you cannot tell me that anytime that anybody, and I've done it, I've emotionally discounted. I'm not speaking from just like, don't do this. Like, we're all susceptible to this, that you feel good at the end of that show. No, you feel taken advantage of. You feel like, dang, I was stupid. Why did I do that? You feel like you let yourself down when you do that. When you're emotionally discounting, you don't end a show feeling good. You may have made some sales, but what did those sales cost you emotionally and in your head and all of that? It's not worth it. It's just not. I would rather stick to my prices and run a show and have no sales and know that I was confident and strong in my choice, and then say, okay, I had no sales. Let's adjust. Let's look at this strategy. Something didn't work. What was it that didn't work? And let's fix it for the next show. That's business. Okay. In business, we got to pull that emotion out of there. We can't make decisions based on our emotion. Mary says, I do max shipping and still go for weeks sometimes without needing a shipping adjustment and then need one or two. Yeah. If you sell it right, it will ship right. 100%. And you can do reduced shipping and control the cost that you're going to end up paying. How do you control the cost? The size of the items that you're selling. Okay. Is that going to become a little bit harder with flat rate going away? 100%. That's going to become a little bit harder. It's going to take more thought on our parts, more decision making to figure out how to sell more and keep the price contained. But it's doable. It's not the end of the world. It's still doable. Dead stock items show average price. So your dead stock, before it was dead stock, was an inventory item. It's still considered average. It's still part of your average price. Once you decide that it is dead stock, you pull it out of your inventory. It becomes obsolete inventory. It's just as if you sold it. You record it the same way as if you sold it, but instead of cost of goods, it's called, the technical term is obsolete inventory. And that is then a tax deduction also. One thing I'm working on is not asking, what are you looking for? If the item, very good, just show it to them. So we got a red chat. I'm not going to call the person out that says they just got a carrier adjustment from June. So y'all go check your things. It looks like they're starting to do those carrier adjustments. We knew that was happening like a month ago, that August 1st, July 1st, I think was the date. So start watching it. So somebody that I trust, so I know this person is telling me the truth that they got an adjustment. So I encourage everybody to go check, not right now, wait till my show's over, then go check your adjustments. I underestimate weights when I don't do max, so sometimes need an adjustment. Yeah. Oh, the adjustment was from a year ago. You didn't get charged, but they put it on your list. Crazy. Just now that we're getting into that season, y'all, shipping is becoming pinpoint accuracy here. Whatnot's cracking down. There's nothing to be afraid of. If we do what's right, we have nothing to be afraid of. We shouldn't have a lot of adjustments. Take pictures when you're doing your scan picture. Take it on a scale so you have some proof of what it weighed. Protect yourself. But it's nothing to freak out about. We do what's right. At the end of the day, you have nothing to worry about. Just like everything else in life. You do the right thing, you're golden. But they're back. Yes, they are backtracking like that. What are the changes? Rossi, we'll talk about that. Hold on. Let me just read these other questions and then we'll talk about some of those changes really quick. No, the person did not have to pay it. They just put it as information so you would know. Okay, carrier adjustments, you guys. When you ship, you always have to put the accurate dimensions of your box. Whatnot assumes in the shipping setup, Whatnot assumes your box is 12 by 12 by 12. That's the standard default. When you go to ship, if your box is anything other than a 12 by 12 by 12, you should be adjusting that in the box sizes. Then right underneath the box sizes is the weight. You should be weighing that packed up box before you put that final piece of tape on there, the packed up box, and putting in the appropriate weight. If either one of those things are incorrect, there is a shipping adjustment. There are a carrier adjustment. Let me use the right words. A carrier adjustment that can be charged back to you. Now, as of the last Whatnot communication, they are only charging adjustments for box size for weight. Sorry, let me get this right. They're only charging if you don't have the accurate weight. The box sizes that when you go into dimensional weight, those charges are coming. They've already said that those will be implemented in the future. But if you don't have the correct weight, if you say your box weighs 2 pounds and it weighs 4 pounds, you will be charged the difference from 2 to 4. So you have to adjust your box sizes before you ship them out. Box sizes and weights, make sure they're accurate. It's not difficult. Now there are sellers on here that will tell you you do not need to change your box sizes. They are 100% incorrect. And I'm not going to call them out by name, but I will call BS on them, because Whatnot Terms of Service tells you have to change your box sizes, and USPS tells us we have to change our box sizes. So anybody who tells you that that is not necessary is full of baloney. One piece of packing paper weighs 7 ounces. It does add up quickly. That's why we say weigh your item with the proper packing. If it's a breakable, put the proper bubble, I can't think of it, the bubble wrap and your paper and whatever else, and the box. Boxes can weigh. I know that if I have an item that weighs like 4 pounds, 4 ounces, that's bubble wrapped, I can put that into an 8x8 box with some big bubbles, and it'll come to about 14 ounces. You get pretty good at starting to estimate some of these things as you go on, but never use your estimations as fact, always weigh. So when I unbundle, yes, absolutely, 100%. If you unbundle, you need to reweigh, because now you have 2 boxes instead of 1, and those boxes are different weights and maybe different sizes. Where do you find the adjustments? I'm on my phone, and I think Vintage Hive, yes, I cannot tell you on your phone. If anybody else knows how to use the phone in shipping, please feel free to answer that question. I only use the computer for shipping. So on the computer, on your shipping screen underneath your seller hub, if you click on any shipment, it's going to bring up a side panel that gives you the details of those shipments. That's where you adjust your box and your weight. And then at the bottom of that screen, when you hit save or generate label, something like that, I think when you hit save, it's going to tell you if you need to pay for it, or it'll show you like 1 of 5 adjustments, 2 of 5 adjustments. It'll show your adjustments on that side panel. So I will sometimes send linens in a plastic shipping bag. I never know what to change the dimensions. A Monster Mama, what I do when I do like weird envelopes or something is the height and width of the envelope, so like 9 by 11. And then I look at it, is it like 3 inches tall? So that's what I do. And I've never had a problem. If anybody else does something different, or if that may be incorrect, please correct me on that. That's how I do envelopes and bubble mailers. Zeller Hub, thank you, Estate Addicts. Thank you very much. I don't do anything on my phone. I do everything on a computer. So besides scrolling and watching Whatnot, I don't do anything else on my phone. So I am not the right person to ask on how anything works on the phone. The times I have to use it, you can tell, because I'm struggling. I'm like, what do I press? Where do I click? Okay. So we're just talking about those boundaries. Stick to your pricing. Have clear policies. No matter what they are, have clear these protect your margins, right? Having your not emotional discounting, knowing what your policies are, protects your margins. It acts as a form of communication. It makes buyers at ease. If buyers are at ease, they'll spend money. Don't apologize for your policies. Never apologize for your policies. They're set for a reason. Do you walk into any store that maybe has a sign that says no videotaping, and then you walk in and somebody is standing there saying, I'm so sorry, our policy is no videotaping? Or if the store has no returns, are they standing there saying, I'm so sorry, there's no returns? No, there's no returns. Be strong in your policies. You've set them for a reason. You do not need to apologize. The minute you apologize for your policy, it's like you feel bad about your policy. If you feel bad about it, why did you set it? Right? There should be no need ever to apologize for the boundaries that you have set for your business. It's no different than boundaries you set in your real life. Think about it like that. It's to protect your business. I have one new in my list. Package type did not match label. So a package type did not match label. You guys help me figure this one out. I would think that would be you put a priority or you put a ground label on a priority box, possibly. So your label doesn't match the packaging that you did. The box is what I'm thinking that would mean. Yeah, estate addicts. Very good advice. Yeah, probably when you're new, it's an easy mistake to make when you're new. Um, just look at your label, make sure you're, and you know what? Come August 1st, when flat rate goes away and the use of priority drastically declines, that's not going to be a problem. I would venture as far to say that mix-ups like that may have even been part of the consideration in this new negotiation, this new form that we have, this shipping changes. And if I didn't answer that question earlier, somebody asked about the shipping changes. I'm sorry, it just came back in my head. I wasn't trying to ignore you. The shipping changes are as of August 1st. There will no longer be flat rate. That is not an option that we can use on Whatnot. Your one, everything will go ground, and your one, I'm going to say everything will go ground. I'll get to the priority in a second. Everything goes ground. Your 1 to 5 pounds, the rate is going down by $2.01. So you're going to save $2. It goes down to $7.20, anything between 1 and 5 pounds. Over 5 pounds will be charged at commercial rates incrementally by weight and obviously size of your package. Priority is still available. However, priority is going to be charged at significantly higher rates. We do not know what those rates are yet. As of the last time I looked a couple of days ago, they were not published on Whatnot yet. Anything under a pound, so 1 ounce to 15 ounces, the price has increased, and they increase incrementally. So Whatnot did publish those prices, but then 2 days ago, they pulled those prices down. So I'm in the dark. I don't know what those prices are going to be now because, again, they put them out there and then they just quietly removed them from that notice. So we will find out come August 1st. Think about it like this. So I want you guys to really focus on this. How many of you, the majority of your packages are between 1 and 5 pounds? Not all of them, but the majority, 90, 95%. Put a Y in there. The majority of your packages are 1 to 5 pounds. Is there separate pricing for books? Yes, media mail, there's no changes to media mail. Okay, there you go. Look at all these yeses. That it's going to save us money, you guys, or your customer money, one or the other. If you're paying, it's going to save us money. It's reducing by $2 a box. That's if you're doing reduced shipping, is going to save you money. If you're doing buyer pays all, it's going to save your buyer money. Win-win, no matter how you look at it. Will the USPS priority boxes go away? No, USPS priority boxes are a USPS thing. You can still get them, but it's going to cost you more to use them on Whatnot. So USPS priority boxes exist. They're still there. But if you want to ship something priority, you're going to spend more money doing so.
What Lace likes, are you still around?
She may have started her show already. It's getting close to her show time. Libby says, I'm actually now almost relieved that I need to buy some boxes. Decision, there you go. Decision fatigue. I Love Discounts talks about this. Tony or Lysandra, if you're in here, I'm going to steal your what you say here. Can I repeat the boxes? Sure. So in summary, I'm going to be very quick, high level about this. 1 to 5 pounds. First of all, flat rate going away. Flat rate is no longer an option for Whatnot. Don't count on it. Don't use it. Not available for Whatnot. Okay. Your watch is up. Oh, okay. Whatnot. No flat rate. Then 1 to 5 pounds. We're switching to ground. Okay. So the majority of everything we're going to send out now is going to be ground. 1 to 5 pounds is $7.20. That's a $2 reduction in the cost. That's going to be good for everybody. Okay. Buyers and sellers. Under a pound, 0 to 15 ounces. The price has gone up, but it goes up also incrementally. Like one ounce is so much, 1 to 3 ounces is so much, and the price increases incrementally. I do not know what those prices are. Whatnot put them out there. They published them, and then they pulled it off the website. So who knows? Priority is still available for an increased price. We do not know what those prices are yet. How will this change after shipping to Puerto Rico? Our timing will be delayed. I do not know. That is a really great question. I don't know how it's going to change shipping to Puerto Rico or Hawaii. I would assume it would fall. So I can ship to Hawaii if it's 1 to 5 pounds. Well, no, it does cost more because it's only the continental. I do not know that. I'm not going to give an answer because I don't know an answer. That is one that I suggest that if terms of service doesn't have it, to contact Whatnot, unless somebody else here may be able to answer. Can you adjust shipping weight after the label has already been printed? You can, but you have to generate a new label. So if you've already shipped it, forget it, it's gone. But if you print the label and you realize, oh shoot, I didn't change the weight, I messed up, you can go back into that shipment and you can click on a box that says generate new label, and that will allow you the opportunity to make those edits and regenerate that label. So if you haven't shipped it, yes, you can regenerate and make changes if necessary. That's happened to me. I've been too click happy and I've clicked generate label before I actually made a change. And I'm like, oh man, you know, I think new shipping changes are going to help me with box clutter. I think so too. I am all about these new shipping changes. Look, at first I was a little nervous about it, like everybody. And I was like, oh, what's this going to do? How is this going to affect me? But you know what I did? What every other business owner should do. I looked at my shipping. I looked at how much I spent. I looked at what my buyers were spending. I ran some numbers and I realized this is actually going to save me money. I'm all for it. Up to 15 ounces would be the same rate, as my understanding, to not the 48 will be the same rate. I hope so. The thing is, Estate Addicts, that up to 15 ounces, they gave us prices, but then those prices went away. Like they took them down, which tells me maybe they're making some changes. So right now, I don't want to say what they are because they took that information off of the. If you go to help.whatnot.com, they used to have a chart that showed you 1 to 15 ounces. They removed it just in like the last 2 days. So, Honeysuckle Cottage, you got that giveaway. Thank you for being here. UPS won't send your 10 flat rates. Oh no, they're not going to be $1 because maybe not. You might have to go in and pick some up from the office. So, yeah, and here, I know you guys have heard me say this, but we're talking about systems and efficiencies, and this is a great place to talk about systems and efficiencies. How to have more money for in the hours that you have. Yes, my love. Did you want to say something? Oh, there you go. Here's your changes. You can look, you guys, anything that I'm telling you for Whatnot, help.whatnot.com, please always go and verify. We do try to get all of our information from there, but you can always go and get this information for yourself at help.whatnot.com. Okay. I'm going to talk about free boxes. Ever since this shipping change was announced, those of you who've been around and heard my spiel, sorry. Ever since this change was announced, what I have heard everybody saying is, you can go to Dollar General, go to churches, go here, go there, go ask for their boxes, go ask your neighbors, ask this, ask that. Look, if you are in that season of your business that money is so tight that is the only way you can ship stuff, I get it. Okay. I'm trying to be a little more forgiving on this topic because I have a very strong viewpoint on this. But when we're talking systems and efficiencies and the best and most efficient use of your time, I look at my time and I say, I would rather do a show for 2 hours, make money and buy boxes than I would spend 2 hours going and chasing free boxes. Think about the best and most efficient use of your time. Now that statement, the best and most efficient use of your time, may look different depending on what season of your business you're in. If you are brand new and maybe you're not making as much sales, getting free boxes may be the best and most efficient use of your time. If you're somewhat established and you can go live for an hour or two and make enough money to buy your boxes, maybe that's the best and most efficient use. Think about how that applies to you because we're talking about systems and money. And those 2 or 3 hours that you spend chasing boxes each week are 2 or 3 hours you could have been doing something that makes you money. Okay? New sellers, I would not be using max shipping. If a customer buys 5 pounds and continues to shop, will new box start over at the new rate? I do not know. I'm just assuming here that the bundling is going to stay the same. The Whatnot's bundling system, the way that they put packages together, is based on the weights you put in, so how much the items weigh, and where those packages are going to. So Whatnot's computer system looks at, okay, this person bought 8 things. This is how much the seller said they weigh, and this is where it's going. And it will then bundle it all together. Or sometimes you may see 2 or 3 packages to one seller or to one buyer, excuse me, because that's the way Whatnot system, their shipping system, it works. I would assume they're not changing that just for this new shipping. They're just changing the rates. Their bundling system is actually really good, the way that Whatnot has it set up. You were, yeah, don't say, that's the other thing. I will reuse boxes if they come into my house and they're in good enough shape, totally reuse them. Think about the business. If you're shipping stuff in a Cheerio box, in a Pampers box, I'm not against it. But again, everything you send out is a representation of you, of your business. Keep that in mind when you send the boxes out. You can reuse Amazon boxes 100%. I reuse them if they're in good enough shape. Sometimes you get them from Amazon and you're like, man, these have been beat to all up, so I can't use it. So if they're in good enough shape, you want to think about the security of your items. And I have seen an uptick, and we will as we get closer to Christmas. There's going to be an uptick in damaged items, not because we're doing different things as sellers, but because as soon as the post office starts getting more and more packages, think about this like in your own job. You get more work piled on you. You're trying to do the same job in a lot less time and you're rushing through things. There is going to be an uptick over the Christmas season as we get into November, December of broken items because of the volume they're having to process. I received a package and the items are wrapped in, oh gosh, please, Lori, that's awful. Did you guys just, you know what? There's a lot of times I will not just flat out say, don't do something. This is one of them. Do not wrap your items in diapers, in the dog potty pads, in adult diapers, baby diapers. I don't care if it cushions your items. It looks disgusting. Do you want to get something wrapped in a diaper? Because I don't. I probably wouldn't buy from you again. That is just a no-go. This is your business. Like, would Amazon send you something wrapped in a diaper? Like, what if you ordered from, Under Armour? You went on their website and they sent you some shoes wrapped in a diaper. How would you feel about that? I received a package wrapped in a USPS bubble wrap bag. Now, this is the big controversy of Whatnot, right? This is the big controversy. You will hear so many people say it's okay to use USPS mailers as your wrap on the inside of a box. And then there's those of us who are like, nope, do not do it. My interpretation, when I go to USPS website and read their rules, my interpretation is that is illegal. You need to make your own interpretation. So, all right, we were talking about healthy boundaries. Quick question for you guys. What is the hardest boundary for you to stick to as a seller? What is the thing you're like, here's a boundary, but this is the one that's hardest for me? For me, I'll tell you mine. My hardest boundary, even though I talk about it a lot, is sourcing. I get very tempted to buy things that I know I shouldn't buy when I source. So while I have boundaries in my sourcing, that's the one that tempts me the most. Time for yourself. I love that. Setting up your boundary of when you do business and when you do your own personal thing. Relax, do whatever. Sourcing for Lori too. When I fire you. So a lot of people are like sourcing. Mine isn't buying too much. Mine is sticking within, I say, can I ship it easy? Does it fit within my themes? And do I feel like I'm going to make enough money? The one that always gets me is, can I ship it easy? I will tend to buy things that are a little bit on the big side and know I shouldn't be shipping, but they're so cool. I want to bring them. And then I sell them and I'm like, dang it, Tracy. Why? Why do you keep doing this to yourself? Boundaries limiting the size. Yeah, that's me right there. Lori, I would think with you it might be difficult too because you sell Rae Dunn. Some of that can be large items, and probably some of the really cool stuff is big, like vintage decor. Full furniture. Millicent, I didn't sell furniture. It was a cabinet. So think about your boundaries and which ones are hard, but just the boundaries we go in protecting our margins. Here's one for you guys, and I'm not gonna hold on. That's when my daughter's rolling her eyes. She's like, there's certain things, you guys. So my daughter is my shipper. She's my packer. I actually put things in boxes, but she packs it. And she will come in. So I sell something, I put it on a bookcase next to me, and she comes and grabs it during the show to wrap it. I can always tell what she doesn't want to ship because I'll sell stuff at the beginning of the show and she keeps ignoring it and she'll grab the next item and the next and ignore everything she doesn't want to wrap. I buy so much to support. I saw Tracy. It wasn't a bedside table. I sold a sewing drawer that it looked like a small piece of furniture, but actually, I think, you know what? I don't even think that cost me way too much. I think that cost me maybe like $15, maybe. It wasn't really as bad as it looked. The camera adds 10 pounds. Let's go with that. Um, I've had so much, Phil, yes, so many support purchases. Me too. Okay, the final thing that we want to talk about in increasing profit is intentional pricing. So we talked about no emotional discounting, but intentional pricing. Pricing is a strategy, you guys. Pricing isn't a feeling. Pricing isn't like this, you know, this is where we get a lot of like sentimental stuff. Like we will see, oh, well, this was grandma's and you price way high. Pricing doesn't come from that. Pricing is a strategy. When you price, because your pricing is going to directly affect the profit you're making, right? If I buy from House of Coop, it can be marketing. Can it be marketing? No, it cannot be marketing. I once shipped a ski machine. Oh, on a different platform. Oh my God, Mary about having a heart attack. I'm like, how in the heck did you ship that on Whatnot? No amount of profit is worth it. Oh yeah, there are certain things that I don't want to pack. I love to sell art, but I'm realizing I sold like 2 or 3 pictures the other day. I don't want to do that. Like I probably still will, but I don't like packing that stuff. Like um okay. Pricing. When you are doing your pricing, you should consider the cost, any fees, your Whatnot fees, your shipping supplies, the rarity and the demand. Okay. Supply and demand play into what your buyers are going to pay. Okay. If the market is flooded, if there are a lot of the same items out there, they're not going to pay a high price for these things because they can go anywhere and get it. So even though, good morning, even good morning, Melissa, you may think it's really cool, but if every other seller has the same thing, it's not going to demand at the same price. We often forget supply and demand on Whatnot, and that's a huge mistake, particularly those of us that sell common items. There's some vintage decor, some glass, some pottery that are super unique, super rare, and demand those higher prices. There's stuff that a Fenton white piece of milk glass is kind of common. It's kind of common. You can go to almost any vintage person and find something similar. Chickens nestings, hens on nest. You want to, and this is why we see those trends come up. I sold something from eBay and incorrectly put a dimension. Oh my gosh, $700. That's crazy. So my husband's typing me red chats and making me lose my train of thought. Think about when you're pricing, take all those things into consideration: cost, fee, shipping, supplies, the supply and demand. I want to point out, you notice what I didn't say. The one word I didn't say in that list: cost, fee, shipping, rarity, demand. Oh yeah, Whatnot is super cheap shipping. Totally agree. Are there workbooks online? And yes, totally user friendly. 100% user. They are written for use. Now the workbooks, Honeysuckle, before you purchase, the workbooks are made for these shows. I don't have one with me because I'm in Dallas, but they are they're outlines of these shows. So you get like the 5 bullet points that I talk about for all of my Friday shows and a place to write. You also get like a CEO questions in there, questions to make you ponder and think a little bit deeper about the topics. And there's calendars. The third quarter is undated. The first 2 quarters are dated. So that's what they are. Okay. Rarity, supply, demand. Yes. What I didn't say, if I didn't see it in here, I didn't say time. You do not need to take your time into consideration when you're pricing. You're going to hear people say you do, but let me tell you the truth. From an accounting focus, your time does not matter in your pricing. There is nowhere in that equation that your time matters. Your time matters at the end of the day. Let me explain the thinking on this. When I'm pricing an item, nobody cares what it took to get it. Nobody cares. Oh, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you, my love. That's okay. Nobody. Okay, hold on. My husband wants to show you. Here you go. We're going to throw, because we got a question on the workbooks, he's going to pull one up and show you really quick. but nobody cares the time you put into that item. Okay. What you paid for the item, while you need to consider it, nobody else cares either. Nobody cares if you paid up for the item. That's a bad sourcing decision on your part, not a buying decision on their part. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and show it. He's doing his thing back there. He's like, there you go. These are the workbooks you were asking about. This is third quarter. If you open it up, you'll see what it does is every show, it follows along with the 5 main bullet points week by week. It's going to give you CEO questions. It does the business and the tax questions. So those are what the workbooks look like. Gives you a place to take notes, put your thoughts. You agree, disagree, how this may apply to your business. So those are the 3-quarter workbooks. The Ledger to Leadership book is actually a book I wrote for accounting. Accounting for resellers. I'm following along for CEO Challenge. Oh, well, I'm so glad you're following along, Gretchen. Shop the Gingham Square. How much we clean and repair and realize this is, I'm not getting more. You're exactly the time you spend cleaning. That does not play into the cost of an item, your pricing of the item. Your time does not mean anything in pricing. Where your time means something is at the end of the day, you have your profit, you have your cost of goods and your expenses, and then you have your net profit, the money that's left over. So at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the month, you look at that net profit and you say, well, this month I made $10,000. Is the time I put into this throughout the month worth that $10,000? Is that trade-off good for me or not? That's where your time matters. Your time matters overall in the process of the business. Your time doesn't matter in the price of each individual product. And this is one of the hardest things for people to really grasp in their heads, because they think, I got up, I went shopping for it, I spent 5 hours sourcing for it, I had to come home, I had to clean it, I had to do all this stuff. Your buyers don't care. That plays zero on the market price of that item. There's no formula that takes that into consideration in this. My thing I keep going back to is how handmade accounts for time. Handmade is different. Are these books, and they are in the bin, Lori. Thank you so much for asking. The books are in the bin. Is it just the electronic ones that I have in the bin? I don't have the physical copies. No, the physical books are in there. Physical and electronic books are in there, so you can pick either one. The electronics are obviously a lot cheaper. Yeah, they are. My husband's like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Yes, they are. You want to? This is a husband and wife bicker thing here. Yes, they are. No, they're not. I'm looking at them right now. Okay. So I'm going to go back to time. Okay, I know, but what about if you're making something out of vintage items or vignettes? Then it's handmade. So Livy, so when you're pulling stuff together, I still, oh my God. Yes, my love. What are you trying to tell me? I am answering. He's yelling at me. Y'all, can I trade my husband? Anybody want a husband just for a little bit? I'll take him back once I get over being
Lori,
like frustrated by him.
She's not paying attention. The physical books are not in the listing. It's only the electronic. And the only one that is listed, that is the Q3, that is the physical book.
There is the physical book. It is in the bin. I just pinned it. There is the physical book. Y'all just wait a minute while I prove my husband wrong. It's all 3. You're going to get all 3. And then here's the electronic. You can get the electronic one.
So in the description, it doesn't specify that you're going to get all 3. So if you buy the Q3, you will get all 3 then.
Okay, so let's talk about handmade, because they are different. And Livy, that's a really great question. Handmade, while the rules are the same, the application is a little bit different. Your time does matter in handmade. Whereas if I'm just buying something, I'm going to buy this cup of coffee and I'm going to list it and I'm going to sell it to you, my time doesn't matter. That's what I was talking about. Now, if I'm going to take this cup of coffee and I'm going to get some paint or some florals and I'm going to like just zhuzh it all up and make this totally other cool item out of it, now I'm moving from just a reselling into a handmade or an upcycling type seller. Now it matters, because now I have the cost of the cup, the cost of the flowers, the cost of the paint, and my time. you're creating something. So when you go from reselling to creating, yes, then your time plays into the cost of that item. So 100% agree. And that's why I try usually to preference that handmade is a little bit different than just buy and resell. The one that, okay, so we got that. Thank you. My florals take forever, but I feel I can't charge that much. And you might not be able to. And this is where the handmade sellers are a little bit different in their pricing. Custom Wood Burning talks about this, and she's a wonderful one to go and listen to. She's a handmade artist. Is she talks about having different levels, entry points for your items. So if you're an artist, a handmade artist of any type, you need to have some stuff that is entry level. First of all, when you're handmade, most of your stuff is expensive. You make a quilt, you do a painting, you upcycle a piece of clothing, whatever it is. Those usually are not $10 items. Those are 50, 100, 200, whatever. They're usually expensive items, whatever expensive may mean in what you're selling. So as a handmade artist, it's very hard for somebody new to you to come in and say, I don't know you, you're online, I've never met you, I'm not in a physical store to buy stuff and touch it and feel it and, you know, talk to you. I'm not going to spend $200 with you right off the bat. That's a hard barrier to overcome. So as a handmade person, a smart move is to have lower cost items. Thank you, my love. Is to have lower cost items, something at an entry point, maybe $10 or something. And what happens is the customers will come in and maybe buy the lower entry point items, and then they get comfortable with you, and then maybe they'll spend a little bit more. But in handmade, it's almost this, they have to warm up to buying those big expensive items. So having those various price points in handmade is a really good part of your business strategy. And she explains it even in more detail. She's really good at explaining the whole thought process behind that. Is there a workbook regarding cost of averaging? There's a PDF that talks about inventory and pricing. It touches on cost of averaging, but it's not like pages and pages covering just that topic. Hopefully that kind of gave a little insight to your handmade. Again, when we're pricing, I'm mainly talking to resellers. Handmade is a little bit different, but we covered the time thing. The other thing I want you to take into account. Good morning from vacation, the good grabs. Well, lucky you. I want you to, we often think when we talk about intentional pricing that we have to say like buy something and then we take our cost, our fees, our supplies, we add it all together, we add some profit margin. So if I bought something for $5, I have to sell it for 10 or 12. That's how our minds normally will work. And this is where we start to stumble with, well, how can I offer a $5 start or a $3 start or a $1 start if I'm paying $5 for an item? You still consider all of those costs. You consider the cost of the item, the fees and stuff, but you don't consider it in the price of the dollar. It's a different way of thinking about it. So the way I think about it, I do all dollar starts. And the way I think about it is when I pick up an item, I look at how much does it cost. Let's just say $10. We're just going to use $10. So I'm looking at a vase that costs $10. Okay, that's $10. I add on some fees and how much bubble wrap. Okay, I would need to make about 15 to break even on this. This is what's going through my head when I look at an item in the store, okay, to stick in my sourcing boundaries. So I think to myself, okay, I need to make about $15 on this item just to break even. The next question I ask myself is, I start everything at $1. Do I have a reasonable expectation that the buyers in my room will bid this item up to 15 or greater? Okay. And then that's an easy yes or no. If I look at that item, now keep in mind, the auction place or where I'm at, not the auction house, the vintage antique store is charging me $10. I have to look at this item and say, is there more value in this than the $10 I'm paying? Is there going to be more value to the people on Whatnot for this item? Then it's a yes or no decision. So just because you're starting at a 5, 1, 3, whatever the lower start price may be, doesn't mean you're not considering cost, fees, shipping. It's just not a straight math formula you're doing to get to a price. You're considering that before you buy it in the fact of, do I reasonably expect the buyers in my room to bid this to this price or higher? Then it becomes a very easy yes or no answer. This is also where having pricing already set helps, because now I don't need to pick this item up and say, Oh, should I run this for 5? Should I do this at 10? Let's see, if I do it at 10, do I think I could get my money? If I do it at 5? No, I do it at 1. Now it's a very clear-cut decision. So I'm hoping that helps. This is the question we get a lot, particularly me as a dollar start person, and I've also heard it asked for people like, how do you start things at $3 or 5? And but I'm going to lose money. I pay more for it than that. I can guarantee you I pay more than $1 for 99% of all the items that I sell. It's that question of, do I reasonably expect it to go for higher than the cost of it, the fees, and any shipping materials that I'm putting into it? And that's where I start thinking in my head, how rare is this item? What's the demand for this item? Okay. So all of that plays into what we ultimately expect it to sell for. That's how you can estimate if you can sell it for $1 or not. And it makes it really clear-cut decisions. It makes it very easy. We're talking about systems and ways to save and be more efficient. Every time I source, it is, can I ship this? Do I want to ship this? Does it fit within the themes that I have for my shows? And do I reasonably expect it to sell for, for a profit, knowing that I started at $1? I answered those 3 questions, and it's a very simple yes or no. Again, I do waver on the size thing, but it makes my sourcing very fast, very easy. And I don't have decision fatigue at the end of the day trying to figure it out item by item by item. Know your customers. Exactly. So that also starts to get you to think more when you're sourcing, of looking for those more rare items, of looking for those items that, maybe the booth owner wanted to get rid of, didn't quite realize what they had, and they price it. Sometimes it's pricing. Butter pats are a perfect example. I can buy butter pats almost all day long for about $2 to $3 a piece here. There's some that are way crazy expensive, but most times $2 or $3 a piece, that's an easy yes for me. If I pick up a $2 butter pat or a $3 butter pat, I could look at it and say, okay, I'm going to start this at $1. Can I reasonably expect to get 5 or more out of this? That's an easy yes all day long, right? So you start understanding, and by knowing your customers, I know that there's places in this country that are incredibly hard to find butter pats. Those are the customers that are coming to buy this because they can't get it where they're at, which means it's more rare for them, which increases the ultimate price. So just because you started at a low price doesn't mean you're not considering all the same factors. You're just looking at it maybe in a different angle. Yes, a mosaic of butter pats. Tober, I was saying that the other day. I was selling some butter pats. I would love to get one of those vintage old frames, like a big ornate frame, and then put it on the wall, and then inside do a whole like gallery of butter pats inside an old frame. I think that would look so cool. Um, okay, let's talk about shows. I said that we are going to talk about focusing on your shows and how do you increase your prices during your show, because systems, efficiencies, everything around the show is great. But what about when you're doing a show? See, rarely in Arkansas, but there are other places like in Abundance. Before we talk about in the show, this is the other thing I want to talk about: rarity and demand. This is why we see at the beginning, like, let's look at B boxes right now, going for crazy, ridiculous amounts of money. Okay, they're going to come down. Give it time. It's those trends. What happens is there's a whole bunch of them out there. People get excited about it. The demand starts because some famous person had it, or somebody saw House of Coop selling it. Not against House of Coop, but they could be trendsetters within the vintage world here on Whatnot. Or they see something. Now the demand starts picking up. Soon as there's more demand for something, the price of it starts going up. Now the market starts to get flooded because all of us sellers are paying attention, and we're like, B boxes are selling like crazy. I better go find one. Now all of a sudden every other show has a B box, where before you would see them hit or miss. The rarity added into the demand. Now everybody has them. You're like, I can go to another show and I can get it cheaper over here. Now the price is going to start coming down because the market has too many of them, and the price will start to come down. And then there'll be another wave sometime in the future. We see it all the time. We saw it with the Labubu's, Hens on the Nest, B boxes, butter pats. And that is like the basic economics there, playing out on Whatnot in this little micro world. Regarding cost averaging, which to choose from the live seller guides, that would be there is one. Let's see if I can find the name of it for you real quick. I can't see the list, so it's going to be hard for me to tell you. There is one. Oh, I can't see it. There is one that talks about inventory, inventory and inventory pricing. Honey, can you take a look and see if you can get the title of that one? I can't actually pull the list up when I'm online. He's looking. He'll put it in there for you. So what is the new trend right now, you guys? What do you think is the new trend? Let's say it's not pricing for profit. There's one on inventory. What is our new trend right now? I think B boxes will I think they're still hot, but I think they're give them another couple months. We'll be on to something else. Working hard on better sourcing. Thrifted women's clothes is saturated with, oh, absolutely. Sell low. Yes, that's it. It is called sourcing, sourcing and cost of goods. Is that the title of it? Sourcing cost and cost of goods is the title of that guide. That would be the one you're looking for. Wedding cake boxes. Do you think the cereal hobbyist, you know, you may be onto something, because I sold one the other day and it went for quite a bit more than what I expected it to. It was mint condition. It was gorgeous, but it went a lot higher than I've seen some of them go for me in the past. You may be onto something with that. You've been struggling to move your B box. Maybe we're already on the downcline. And here's the thing. This is what happens. The trend starts, the rarity is there, and everybody then is like, oh, let's go get B boxes. Now the market's flooded. The prices are going to drop. You're not going to get as much money. You may have a hard time buying it. You may have to just ride it out, take less money or ride it out. This is why when a trend comes up, you don't go and purchase a whole bunch of that trend, because then the market's going to get saturated. Wedding cake. I love wedding cake boxes. Swamp Chick, I can imagine you probably have quite a few of those. I said one, was it last Saturday? It really surprised me. Usually I can do a Westmoreland cake box at around $20 to $30. I think this one went upwards of 40, maybe 45. It wasn't, I don't remember the exact price off the top of my head, but it was definitely shocked me at the price that it went to. Livy says her B box took a while to sell. I know Southern Charm sold a few B boxes. She's done pretty good with those. So, okay. In our shows, I've got 2 more points to make, and then we'll go and raid somebody. But in our shows, what can we do to increase profit during our shows while we're live? Because we've talked all around the show. Bundles is one. Think about the value you're giving your buyers. 2 cups look better than 1 cup. 2 matching plates for a gallery wall is a better value than 1 plate for a gallery wall. So think about bundles. Ironically, lowering your prices can get you a higher average order value. I know it sounds crazy, y'all. I know it sounds crazy. Lowering your prices encourages more buyers. It does work. I'm not telling y'all to go lower your prices. You just may consider it on an item or two. Think about it. Lowering your prices encourages buyers. Attractive shipping. I'm going to be very politically correct, and I'm going to just call it attractive shipping. Reduced, free, reduced at varying prices, pick something. What's attractive to your buyer for shipping can help increase your average order value. Used to scan for 3D. I would sell for what I paid. I'm trying to build your own. You're trying to build your own plate wall as a listing, and it's a choice through Butter Pats and some good. Oh, nice, Livy. I gotta go check that out. That has helped me a lot. Selling a set or 2 or 4 plates instead of selling them in. Absolutely. Who wants to buy 1 plate? Unless it's for a gallery wall. Now, you have to look at the type of plates you have. Some plates are made to sell individually for gallery walls. But really, 2 plates, it's standard. People like things in even numbers. Okay, first of all, even is comforting to a lot of people. 2, 4 plates, 8 plates. How do the stores sell them? Do you ever see stores bundling a set of 3 plates? No. They're selling even numbers. Let's learn from what's being successful around us. I'm just starting out, so if I buy something for $10, I feel like I have to price it at least $15 to make it worth it, right? If you're looking at each individual item, if you're going on a per item basis, yes. However, the lowest you can price an item and be comfortable with that price is probably going to work out better for you in the long run as far as people bidding. Now, does this apply to every single rare, unique piece of glass out there or super, collectible, unique items? No, probably not. but in your general majority of what we sell on Whatnot, this is an applicable process to apply. So okay, so hold on. Unique Travel says you missed the whole first week. What can you do to get your own start fast? Go live as often as you can. Have an anchor show. The best thing you can do for yourself, don't worry about that promo. That promo is great, but there's a bunch of like a lot of things you have to meet. Is it cool to get some extra money from Whatnot? Yeah, it's cool. Does it mean because you missed it, you're not going to be successful or you needed it to be successful? No, not at all. Pick an anchor show, get a day and a time that you are on regardless every single week. And then in between that, go on as often as you can that you physically can do, that you could have inventory for and that you can ship. Don't overextend yourself and make a presence. Put on a good show, have good items, have good lighting, have a good experience for your buyers. That's going to get you people in your room and grow your business faster than any gimmicks will, faster than giveaways or buying paid sponsorships or any of that stuff. You doing your thing on a regular basis is going to be the best thing to grow over anything else. The best way that people can learn about you is to see you in action. Them hearing your name in somebody else's room, while it's cool, they don't experience you. And a lot of what you're doing here is selling you, not just the product. It's the experience more so than the item you're selling. That doesn't mean you can bring junk, but it's the experience. So other things we can do, your show flow. How you're doing your shows affects the price you're going to get. You can think about the order of items that you're putting in your show. Have a good, Swanit, this will have a fabulous Friday to you too. Understanding, and here you go, you're going to hear there's some other people out there saying all that buyer psychology is foo-foo, who cares about it, sell your stuff. You're going to hear people saying that. They have the right to their opinion, and that's okay. But I can tell you, the minute I started understanding the psychology and the buyer behavior, let's get psychology out of there. That's a big word. A lot of people are like, let's just say the minute I started to take time to understand the behavior of buyers and my own behavior, my sales started to increase. The minute I started to understand concepts like arbitrary cohesion, the cheerleader effect, all these things that Green 13 introduces, and I started hearing it, I'm like, that's interesting. And I went and did my own research and reading, my average order value started to increase. There is something to it, whether they think it's foo-foo or not. If you understand your buyers, not just that, oh, Sally likes Ironstone and Bob likes baseball cards. It's not just understanding that, it's understanding what drives them to buy to begin with. You also then understand what they don't like, which is power to you and what not to do in your shows. Remember, when we're doing shows, it's all about removing the barriers to buying. You don't understand what those barriers are until you start understanding what they don't like. Human Nature 101, 100%. There is a reason why big corporations have departments that do nothing but study this type of stuff for their sales, because it works, because there is actual proof in the pudding. Understanding what they don't like. So here's a perfect one. I talk a lot about even pricing. I understanding that varying prices, that if I'm showing random items and I'm like $5, $5, $5, $20, that makes anxiety in buyers. Even if the buyer doesn't, you as a buyer, you're not sitting there saying, oh, I feel anxious. The varying prices creates this, I don't know what's coming. I'm not sure if I can afford this. It kind of gets them on their edge of their seat, not in a good way. Understanding that is not good, that's not something that buyers instinctively want, lets me know that even pricing is a better model to go with. So that's one example. There's many more. We could probably do a whole show and think about it and kind of list out a bunch of these. Larry says, I tried only $10, but my bids were 10, so too high. It may be. It could have been, okay, I only got 10. Let's see what happens. Maybe pick a couple of items, maybe in your next show. Here's the thing. When I say varying prices, I say one flat price. Okay, let's just do the one flat price. That doesn't mean that throughout the show, you can't say, you know what, you guys, You guys are awesome. We are having a great show. Would you like me to run something at $3? If you've been doing 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and your pricing is 10, and you're doing this as a treat, you're introducing it as like, thank you guys, this is awesome. That's not the same concept as varying prices. Then it becomes this, oh, wow, this is a really cool event. This is something she's doing for us, and that encourages pricing. So I would try it on your next $10 show, finding moments to introduce a couple of $5 items or something and see, am I getting more bids that way? And then maybe you can work from that and move forward. It's the same thing I talk about introducing dollar starts. If somebody's like, oh, I want to do dollar starts, I would never ever suggest you just go and do a show of dollar starts. I think that's stupid, actually. What I would suggest is do a dollar start when you get a raid, do it as a special moment, get the feel for it, see the reaction, and then make decisions based on that. Price is only an issue when the value is absent. I love that because the value isn't determined by us, the value is determined by the buyers. How do you manage that if you have a certain price for things you paid up for? Because you control it at the sort at when you're sourcing. And that goes back to what I was talking about. I start everything at $1. So I have to have sourcing boundaries. I have 3 questions I ask myself when I go to source. Do I want to ship this? Does it fit in a 12 by 12 box? Is it shippable? Does it fit my theme? And then, is the value of this item, can I expect this item to be bid above the price I'm paying plus the fees? You make that decision when you source. If you already paid up for it, you didn't think about it on the front end. Sell it for what you can get out of it. Faye says, I grew up with varying prices. It confuses buyers. My husband's wanting me to point out reverse auctions too. So here's the other thing. Miranda, if you have a bunch of stuff that you're like, okay, I paid up for a lot of this. Maybe I didn't make the best sourcing decision. Oh, that's cool. Gather all those items up, do a reverse auction. If you guys don't know what a reverse auction is where you start high and you count down. This protects you as the seller and gives good deals to the buyers. For example, let's imagine this is a gorgeous swung vase I have here, not a cheap cup of coffee. Gorgeous swung vase. If I go and do comps, I can reasonably expect to sell it on another platform for $200. So I may come to Whatnot and say, all right, you guys, I'm going to start this at 120. I'm not running it. I'm saying verbally, okay, 120. If you hear a price that you like, put an R in the chat, and that's when I'm going to run it. 110, 100. Now let's say I paid 50 for this, so I know I can't go below, say, $80. So I'm going to stop my floor. I'm going to count down. And if I hit 80, I'm going to say, all right, you guys, sorry, that one's going away. I can almost guarantee you while you're counting down, if you've priced it at a thing that's attractive to customers, somebody's going to say run around 80 to 90, $100. Then you run it and it's open for bids. That's a reverse auction. I've done a few of them. You can check out my YouTube to see them in action. They work very well for very high priced items that you're too scared to start low, or items that you paid up for. Maybe you didn't make the best sourcing decision, as a way to get your money out of them. So with Livy, so you do a reverse. When I would do the reverse, I pre-list everything at the starting bid, and that's where I would start counting down at. So if somebody was like, look, I got to have that, I'm going to start right there, they had the option to start it right there. Or they can wait for me to run it. Now, the key is once you count down, that item goes away, you don't bring it back. That creates the scarcity and the FOMO. That means somebody is going to have to say run, because they don't know when you're going to pull it off screen. They don't know when you said, all right, thank you so much for looking, and it's gone. So you really have to stick to that. So the buyers are like, okay, they see that once or twice. They're like, I better pick a number in here if I want that item. Miranda says, well, I paid 10 for something. I know I can get 20 because it's something people love, but not everything in my show is 20, some 5, some 8. So this is where you start to think about the items you bring in your show. So if it's going to be very hard to do $10 starts when you have $5 value items and $30 value items. So maybe you lump your lower value items and start them even lower. So your $5 to $15 items and start them at $3. And then take your higher end items and start those at a $10 or a $15 show. Not my absolute preferred method, but you could do it. I better than doing mixed prices within one show. My viewership is still very low. I can't depend on my items being bid up. If I start at 5 or lower, I have to accept I'm going to lose. I am going to be 100% honest with you. I am not going to sugarcoat this or lie or cover this up in any way, shape, or form. When I went to Dollar Starts for a good 2 to 3 months, I lost money. Most of my stuff went between $1 and $3. It takes time. It is not a magic formula that's going to happen the minute you put something up for a low cost. It will not. Before you go there, you need to be willing to accept some loss. This is also why I suggest try a lower start as a special thing. Do it when a raid comes in. Start testing the room. Start getting people used to it. Then when you want to say, okay, I'm going to do a show of $3, $5, make a big deal about it. Talk it up to your customers. Hey, you guys, I really want to do a $5 show. I'm loving this. You guys treat me so well. Next Tuesday is my $5 show. Do not miss it. Does that mean you're going to be successful right off the bat? Probably not. But it's what you put into it. So you can't just show up like, okay, I'm going to schedule a show up, everything's $5, and now they're going to bid everything up. The other thing you have to think about is, so depending, hold on, I'm going to read your thing. 5 that you're going to lose. So you say that if you start at 5 and they bid at 5, you're going to lose 5. That tells me your item's valued at about $10. You have to make sure it's not just the item, it's the item and shipping too. Okay. That your items are worth the amount that you want to get out of them. There's a bunch of questions I'm not ignoring. I'm going to get to it. So I'm not ignoring you guys. My husband's getting mad that I'm not answering the questions like that. You've got to think too, that it's the item plus the shipping. So you need to better make sure that that item's value is worth the prices you want to get out of it. Can I pre-list at Starpoint? Yes, you can, Libby. That's what I did for the reverse auctions. So it has to be items I've never shown. No, you can show them. It works better. It works better if you've never shown them, but you can use items you've shown before, but it works better if they're new and exciting items. No, I put reverse auction as my show title. And then I put how it works in my notes because a lot of people have not experienced a reverse auction and you will have a lot of questions on how they work. I do encourage, if anybody's interested in it, I have a couple of them on YouTube that you can go and just watch. You don't have to watch the whole show to see how they run and see how they work. I have to say that they're great shows. Do I get 100% sell-through rate on those? No, I don't, but they're usually my very high-end items. They're swung vases. They're very expensive in the whatnot world of vintage decor items that I would do a reverse auction for. Would you say when I get to my reverse price, it goes away? Yeah, when you get your reserve price, when you get to that price that you don't want to go below and you don't disclose that, nobody knows what your bottom line price is. You're just like, all right, you guys, thank you so much. And you move on. What does Liz say? Remember, until you sell it, you've already lost the money. Oh, I love this, you guys. Pay attention. When you sell it, you've already lost the money used to buy it. Buy for the $1, sell for $3. At least you make your loss because it's sold. When you buy an item, you're trading cash to have something sit on a shelf. That's gone. That money's gone. The best thing you can do is get what you can out of all of those items. People have tagged my items in my shop. How do I promote those items? It's not necessarily promoting them, but if you know that an item has a bunch of likes, you may want to run it in your show. Put it in your show. What am I missing? He's telling me I'm missing comments. All right, what does Liz say? Buy for $5, sell for $3. You reduced. You did. Now you've only lost $2 instead of $5. And I can guarantee you guys, look, it is a lower start, and I'm not going to say dollars. Is a lower start the magic secret to everything? No, it is one technique, one tool you can use amongst a varying box full of tools that you have at your disposal. Okay? It is an effective one, though. I have also seen people sell high-end items at high-end prices and be successful that way. But you got to figure out where you are and stick to it. You can't be a dollar start person and then come in and do a show selling everything at 40. You're going to confuse people. They're going to go, what the heck? Why should I buy from you at 40 when you're a dollar start person? Right? Thank you so much for the tip. I appreciate you. I run items in my show and no one attended the show. How do I increase viewer time? Unique Travel Treasures. Do you have an anchor show? That's my first question. Do you have an anchor show? Not yet. That's your first thing. Get an anchor show. If they don't know when you're on, how can they come to your show? If they don't know when to expect you, day and time, every single week, like a TV show, You need to get that. Pick one. While you're finding your spot, pick a spot to go with. Pick a spot in the meantime while you're testing other spots, because you still need something to get them. An anchor show is a show that you have at least once a week, same day, same time. It's like back in the day when we would watch TV shows and we knew Friends came on at Tuesdays at 8, and we would arrange our schedule around Tuesdays at 8. People do the same thing for Whatnot. They need to know when you're going to be on, when they can find you. If you don't have that, you come on, they could be at the doctor, the dentist, they could be with their kid. You need a time and day every single week without fail that they can find you. Then do that while you're looking for your other spot. If you're not sure what it is, thank you. He's reminding me of time. Pick what works for you and then experiment until you figure out the best one. And then you slowly migrate to the best spot. Okay. I'm going to talk about one more topic really, really quick, and then I got to go because, the time is getting away from me and I've got to get to work. All right, one more topic. Fees. So, you guys, I just really quick want to go over fees. We got a bunch of people in here. Some of you may be new. I want to go over fees for a couple of reasons. Whatnot is rolling out a new fee reduction schedule to certain sellers. It is to U.S. Fashion, Toys and Hobby, and Food and Drink. They're calling it the Sell More, Earn More, where if you hit certain limits, like $20,000 in a month, you get a reduced fee. It goes from like 8% to 7%. I thought this was interesting. I love the concept because I think it will encourage people to buy and really encourage sellers to step up their game. I asked if I can promote on a show and got banned on my third day. What? Unique Travel Treasures, I wouldn't ban you, but don't ask to promote. You can read my show notes to see why, and I'm not getting on you. A lot of sellers do not like promotions. We work hard to get our audience. When you're brand new, if brand new sellers like people to promote because it gets people talking in the chat. But as you can see, we have 85 people in here and the chat's moving pretty good. If all 85 started promoting their shows, I wouldn't be able to pick out the questions and answer the questions and have a good conversation. That's in a chat show. It becomes incredibly distracting to the seller when they're selling their items, when the focus should be on that seller and their items. You are far better off doing what you're doing here, joining in the conversation. That's going to get you more recognition any day than promoting in a show will ever get you. So the fact that they ban you, that's their policy. That's their boundaries. I may not agree with their boundaries, but they have every right to put those boundaries in place for their show. As a new seller, where do you get the update? Help.whatnot.com. Help.whatnot.com should be your best friend on this app. Go to it regularly, read it regularly. So I just want you to think about this though. While I think it's a good thing that they're doing the Sell More, Earn More, their first reduction is $20,000 in 4 weeks. This isn't a 3-month period, it's a 4-week period. To get Premier, you need to sell $50,000 in 3 months. That's $16,000 a month. You have a better chance at getting Premier if you can be consistent with it for 3 months than you do hitting the Sell More, Earn More for 1 month. I thought that was a little ironic because it was kind of posed as, well, if you can't get Premier, this is something you can go for. That doesn't make sense because you need to sell a minimum of about $16,700, give or take a few bucks a month for 3 months in a row to get Premier with the other ratings that you need to keep versus $20,000 to get a 1% reduction here. So I thought that was a little interesting from a math perspective, just to put that out there, but it's there. What I want you to keep in mind though, what I really wanted to point out about these fees is our fees are set up in 3 ways, right? We have 8% sale, okay, 8% on the sale of the item, 2.9% on the sale plus the tax plus the shipping, okay? Then you're 30 cents per transaction. A lot of people don't realize that they're calculated a little bit differently. 8% just on the item, 2.9% on the item, the tax and the shipping, and then 30 cents for every transaction. Why am I bringing this up? Because we have a reduction in shipping company coming up, right? Is this going to get you a whole lot of money? No, but could it increase what you're getting per show, what we're talking about? Less work, more money? Yes. That 2.9% is calculated on the sale, the tax, and the shipping. Your shipping now for every box between 1 and 5 pounds is going to be $2 less. That's $2 less that 2.9% is going to be calculated on. So not only are we getting a shipping reduction, we are getting a slight fee reduction overall when you think about it. Okay, that 2.9 isn't changing, but the amount it's being charged on is changing, which means a little bit more money for us as sellers. That's the whole point I wanted to point out. When they calculated shipping and you do max out is only 921, correct. You can pick, Libby, you can pick any number for max shipping. Yes, it's on the 921, correct. Whatever calculates during the sale of the show, I think. Let me double check that, and I will mention that on Monday. I'm going to go back and double check to see if the adjustments calculate into that whatsoever. I'm tempted to say no, but I want to verify that information for you. Okay, you guys, I do have to go. He has an appointment. I got to get to work. I appreciate you guys being here. We're going to be back on tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. for a Glowy Glass show. Please come and see it. It's going to be random. It's going to be cool. Been sourcing all month to bring you some really cool stuff. With that, we're going to raid. Have a wonderful weekend, you guys.
Stick around. Stick around. I'm going to send you to a very, very good seller. Observe what they do and how they do it, so you can get a little glimpse on what she was talking about. So have a wonderful weekend.